break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Mahomes in trouble, gets away. Mahomes racing with the bad ankle and all. Inside the 20, and he's taken down. Somehow, Patrick Mahomes.
When was that? Well, Super Bowl 57. That was Patrick Mahomes the first time he faced the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Perloff, a game that is deserving of being an all-time classic. I'm sorry if it brought up some painful memories for you as an Eagles fan, but that was Kevin Burkhardt on Fox. And, you know, we noticed in talking to you guys and just sort of getting prepped for the Super Bowl, there doesn't seem to be a lot of excitement about this rematch. And I'm curious if you're feeling any kind of juice from it.
I think there's a lot of it. There is excitement, but it's not about the matchup. I think there's excitement about the Chiefs trying to three-peat or hating the Chiefs. There's definitely a buzz about, I hate the Chiefs. But nobody's like, man, I'm glad the Chiefs are playing the Eagles part 2. I have not heard one person say that. It's nothing against the Eagles, but first of all, it's a sequel. And I know you like sequels, but most people do not like sequels. They're usually a watered-down version of the first game. And secondly, the opportunity of what could have been. You could have had Detroit here. You could have had Buffalo here. You could have had Lamar Jackson trying to break through. So I think that there are other matchups that would have really got people excited. This ain't it.
Okay, but are we so much about just the prisoner of the moment that we can't remember 2 years ago that this gave us an all-time great game? Was it 28-3? Was it historic? I mean, it actually was historic in a couple ways. But was it 28-3, an all-time comeback? No, but it was Mahomes on a bad ankle, and it re-injured it early on in the game. It was another Chiefs 10-point deficit, this time at halftime. Yeah. It was Mahomes 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Do you remember there was a 65-yard punt return in this game, which was the longest in the history of the Super Bowl?
I do.
Extra credit if you remember who it was.
Kadarius Toney.
It absolutely was.
Nobody will ever forget that. That guy could fly, but what a knucklehead.
Yeah,
anyway.
what an interesting dude. He also scored a touchdown in that game. So there was so many things that happened that were kind of classic. You know, I think we remember for James Bradbury defensive holding, and after the game he goes, "Yes, I did hold," which kind of took away any of the controversy. But this was a really great Super Bowl. Can we really not just go back 2 years and maybe Jalen Hurts getting a little revenge? That's not a good enough storyline?
I don't think the point is whether the last Super Bowl was good or not. It's just been there, done that. We played that Mahomes highlight. That could have been from 50 other games. If this was scripted like pro wrestling, there's no way they would go back to this well. They would have a new storyline. Because we've seen this Chiefs thing so many times. You mentioned this, like another 10-point comeback. I didn't hear that like other time. Like, another 10-point comeback. No, I meant
to say another 10-point.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, Mahomes is going to, and like basically the same game last year. They won by 3 in the Super Bowl. I think people are tired of this style of Super Bowl. And also, too, if you think about rematches, it's rarely the Giants beat the Patriots in 2007. Amazing. All-time Super Bowl. The next game in 2011 was almost as good, but nobody cares. So I just think that that's sort of the vibe I'm getting about this Eagles-Chiefs specific matchup.
Man, I think we're kind of sleeping on what could be a real giant of a game. And I think the 3-point wins, and Super Bowl 57 was ultimately won on a Harrison Butker field goal. But I think and he had missed a field goal, by the way, earlier in the game. So it actually was a very dramatic moment. He kind of feels a little automatic now, but I believe he missed a field goal earlier in the game. Anyway.
It was pretty close, though.
No, but here's the thing. Having a 3-point win in the Super Bowl, as someone who's just watching the game, that's almost as good as you can get. The worst Super Bowls are like the stretch we went through when I was a kid, and partly my team contributed to a few of these, which is just the blowouts. You know, the ones where it feels over at halftime, and, you know, everyone's just, the dip's getting cold, and everyone's kind of starts thinking about having to work the next day, and the Super Bowl party kind of falls flat. And these are exciting games where no one wants to, get up for a second.
Right. Like kind of the national title games in college football have been like that on and off the last few years. I totally understand what you're saying, but we are pretty much guaranteed a close Super Bowl in the modern era. There are very, very few blowouts. There's way too much parity, and the Chiefs, every great Super Bowl team has to get ripped apart by the salary cap. The Chiefs had to let Tyreek Hill go, so they're never going to be able to blow out the other team. I would be surprised if they had a blowout here because they haven't blown out anyone. You know it's going to be a close game, and you know that Patrick Mahomes will probably do something at the end. It seems predictable. It seems like we know what's going to happen. That's why you had to get, if you were a scriptwriter, get Josh Allen and the Bills in there, or Lamar Jackson, and definitely the Detroit Lions. And I'm taking my Eagles fan hat. Of course, I want to see the Eagles, but I think if you gave most of the public a choice between the Lions and the Eagles, of course they're taking the Lions.
I know the Lions are a great story, could have become America's underdog, but they had too many injuries. Like, that just happened. They got beat soundly at home. Let's call it what it is. The Lions didn't deserve to go to the Super Bowl. You can't lose to a rookie quarterback at home. Even with the injuries, you can't do that. And they don't deserve to be here. Your Eagles do. Your Eagles beat the Rams in the snow. Your Eagles
Thank God it was
beat
snowing.
the Packers. Your Eagles beat the Commanders. Like, you're the worthy NFC representative.
Oh, I hear you.
And, to be honest, some of the quarterback rematches that we have throughout history, some have been, not amazing, and I'll put my team right at the top, like Jim Kelly, Troy Aikman, 2.0. Well, 1.0 was actually worse. 2.0 was not great. But you're telling me Bradshaw, Staubach?
That's the one great one. Yeah, the 35-31 game was amazing. It's an all-timer. But, okay, but
Brady, Eli, this becomes a hilarious one. I think the Brady, Eli ones are awesome because Brady's real rival was Peyton. Yet here comes aw shucks little brother Eli, who turns into the Terminator in these two games and never went to the playoffs, and never won a playoff game, and any other run.
Well, the first one was,
made.
But the first one is obviously bigger, iconic. Yeah, the
Mario Manningham one. That was a pretty amazing catch. That was an Eli throw and catch that was memorable.
Right, but I think it was certainly watered down because you had the first one. That's my point. Like, what are they going to have to do on Sunday to really make it, besides the three-peat storyline? There's nothing about this game. It could be the closest game ever. I mean, last year went to overtime. So I'm not sure what they could do as far as game action to make this game stand out. I think the three-peat will stand out, but that's about it.
Listen, we've been talking, we're asking you if you're excited to watch the Super Bowl rematch, and you can call us at 855-212-4227. The other thing, though, I'm surprised is not getting a little bit more play or excitement, not play, excitement. And I get it. The Eagles are not a national fan base necessarily.
They're national-ish. They're nationally adjacent, I would say.
Okay.
They get all the prime time.
National-ish. I'll give you that.
Yeah, like they're on SportsCenter all the time. But anyway.
Okay. Perfect. So they're national-ish. You got stars all over the place for the Eagles. You really do. A.J. Brown's a star. Devontae Smith is a star.
Devontae Smith? I mean,
he's a Heisman Trophy winner.
I mean, a star, but I think you're being a little generous, but please go ahead.
Okay, massive 45-yard reception in the first time around, Super Bowl 57. Smith is a star. I mean, Alabama. Okay, well, we can agree to disagree. Let's not get caught in the weeds here.
Has he ever been to a Pro Bowl?
I just assume that he has.
Oh, I don't think so, but you can check that.
Let's
but go
get
ahead.
The stats and info on that one after Manny's done brushing his beard. So, priorities. So, I'm surprised, even if people aren't like gaga over the Eagles, I'm surprised that the revenge factor hasn't been something that people have gotten on board with. Let's talk about what happened. We talk about the Chiefs three-peat, and that's really the headliner. But I'm going to say the 1B of this Super Bowl, Eagles revenge factor. Eagles lose a heartbreaking Super Bowl 38-35. Jalen Hurts, outside of this weird fumble that got returned for a touchdown, played awesome in this game. Devontae Smith played awesome in this game. They got very little from the run game, which we think will be different now because Saquon Barkley's back there. What happened to the Eagles after they lost this game? They started 10-1 the next year, but went into a tailspin. The after effects of that Super Bowl were widely felt in the Eagles.
They lost both coordinators. That was a killer.
Well, that was a killer. You have to be thinking there has to be nothing but revenge on their minds.
No, first of all, it's a different team. There's no Kelsey. The whole defense is completely different. In 2
That
years,
probably bodes well for you.
Yeah,
that's a better thing. You've gotten younger and better, especially on the defensive line. No more Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. I don't think is coming back.
Right. But there's no revenge. None of those guys. Most of the D line wasn't there. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell weren't there. Saquon wasn't there.
How about coach and quarterback?
Well, Sirianni is. I don't know. Who knows what that guy's thinking? Jalen Hurts is not a human. He's a robot. He doesn't seem to. He is not your typical revenge guy. I think Jalen Hurts is thinking revenge. Who knows what Jalen Hurts is thinking?
Well, I read a story that Jalen Hurts had kept either a picture or the final score or something from that Super Bowl as the background on his phone for like a year and a half.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to read. Jalen Hurts is a bit inscrutable to me. He doesn't say much. But, maybe Jalen Hurts, but you have to admit it's a wildly different team in just 2 years. Kelsey's not there. I mean, it's totally has a different flavor.
How funny that we're like, the center's gone. Can you even name the center on 20 football teams?
He's like the eighth most famous person in the NFL, Jason Kelsey. I also, A.J. Brown, I see like he could be, he just cares about his targets. He doesn't care about who wins the game anyway.
That's unfair.
I'm just saying, like, he's not your typical revenge guy. He's a different cat. I just think that I don't hear a lot of revenge. Also, the Eagles
could be the team that stops the dynasty in its tracks.
The Bills would want revenge. The Eagles and the Chiefs, they Andy Reid in common. It doesn't feel like a revenge. I'm not hearing revenge. Are you hearing a lot of like, man, we want to get them back? Maybe in the locker room they are. It just feels like they're such a different team. They have a totally different character because Saquon there. Like, they're built around Saquon now. Feels like actually, they might as well have different jerseys. There's nothing in common with these two teams.
855-212-4227.
Sirianni wants revenge on every game. Like, who knows what that guy... He's just ready to yell at some fans and mix it up.
His own fans.
Yeah, I know. Sirianni, I don't think has this game... I think he has every game penciled as a revenge game. I don't know on who. Yeah, I get it. I'm curious. We should put it out there. I don't think this is a matchup people wanted.
855-212-4227. Listen, wanted. Listen, you don't always get what you want in life. This is sports. We joke around about the script and how everything's scripted, but this is like the last thing we have that you never really know the outcome. It's always in the balance. And listen, it would have been awesome for our show if it would have been Bills Eagles. That could have been a lot of fun, a lot of show bets, a lot of interesting stuff. But Bills didn't hold up their end of the bargain. The Chiefs did.
Would it be more exciting if Lamar Jackson was in the Super Bowl just to see how he performed? We know what Patrick Mahomes is going to do. It feels like I think listen, I've been trying to defend the Chiefs, but there's fatigue. That's the perfect word to describe this matchup to me.
Yeah, let us know what you think. We are everywhere you are. On the Infinity Sports Network, we say good morning to our affiliates. We are on Sirius XM 375. Babe Ruth, John Elway, Reggie Bush at USC. That's how you can remember where we are on Sirius XM. You can watch the show, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet and twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. Also on X at Maggie Gray. Definitely want to highlight those social channels because, guys, we are T-minus 4 days until we are out of here and down to New Orleans. And our guest list is shaping up very nicely.
Nice.
I know. Very pleased with how this is going. Lots of positive feedback. We have a lot of different things planned for off of Radio Row.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. There's something we're planning that's kind of dangerous.
I think you can remove the kinda.
Yeah, no, it's life-threatening.
It's dangerous. It's life-threatening. We haven't told anybody at work about it.
Actually, multiple things that could be life-threatening. Two things.
Two things that could be life-threatening.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
honestly, just getting through the week uninjured would be a victory. I don't even need the Eagles to win. I just don't want to end up in the ER somewhere in Metairie, Louisiana.
I don't know why we decided to go and we really are being risky in this one.
Yeah, it's not my call. Believe me, I was like, no, that's a terrible idea. Again and again and again.
I know. You know how
but you guys were all so insistent. We got to do this.
I know. Well, I have a feeling like EJ and I can be a little egg each other on a little bit. Like once we get a good idea, we're like, yeah, and we should make it 12. Yeah. And this. And Perloff's like, wait a minute, are you guys sure we're going to?
He's like, let's reverse this back. Let's go to the beginning here. You want to do what off the top of this building?
Yeah, just pump the brakes. And EJ and I have already made 4 phone calls. We're already basically getting fitted for harnesses. I've noticed this about you and I, EJ. We wouldn't be good if we were in I don't know, stunt coordinators or something.
Or like in one of those like game shows where it's like, hey, you can leave now and go away with a lot of money, or do something crazier to get more money. We would be the people that would just keep going,
and leave with nothing,
and then lose everything,
Yep.
Absolutely everything.
We are leave with nothing people.
I mean, says the woman who won't get on a roller coaster, by the way.
And got up from the blackjack table when I was up $200 because I needed to go buy a backpack. I had a specific thing in mind that I wanted to buy. I picked it out and I got the money and I was like, all right, guys, I got to go. I got this backpack on hold.
That last minute was like you were out there bungee jumping left and right. Maggie's like, I don't want to go on that elevator. It moves too fast.
I don't like the ones that are all glass. 855-212-4227. No, but we, sometimes we just get it over our skis, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, right.
You said it. We have two very dangerous things that we're planning for New Orleans. So that's going to be a fun way to kick off the week. 855.
You could argue a third dangerous thing, depending on how it goes.
Including in the eating contest with Zion Williamson.
Well, that's you're bound to lose.
That's like going against Mahomes.
Yeah. No matter what the score is at halftime, he's coming back. Does he play basketball anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Allegedly.
He's kind of awesome now.
Is he back?
Their team is terrible.
He plays like once every 3 games. It's insane. But when he plays, he looks great.
Oh, my God. His efficiency
So basically,
rating
that's the NBA. He plays once every 3 games.
He's like going to set the all-time efficiency record. He's amazing. I want him on my team so badly.
You already have a Zion Williamson. His name is Joel Embiid. He doesn't play every other game.
Zion's so much more exciting than Joel. Joel just Zion doesn't do the 9 pump fakes / layup. Anyway,
by the way,
we'll see Zion down there.
No. I looked. No Pelicans games at home while we're down there.
That's devastating.
I know.
That doesn't matter. He wouldn't play anyway.
Yeah, he's going to be staying in New Orleans, probably eating some gumbo. I digress.
We should try to tap into where he goes.
Just a real quick, he has scored more points than minutes in his last 4 games. He's gotten more points than minutes. Dude is fire. He's amazing. He just never, ever plays.
Yeah, that's a big flaw.
For a basketball player, yes.
Yeah, for a professional athlete to never play. 855-212-4227. Anyway, we were talking today about whether you're excited to watch the Super Bowl rematch. I think people are forgetting that this was a classic game that happened 2 short years ago. Why we would think we're not going to get another one when this Eagles team is definitely better than the team that went to the Super Bowl 57. 855-212-4227. Maggie, Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. I heard a great analogy. We were discussing whether people are excited for the Eagles-Chiefs rematch. This is from our friends at Pardon My Take, Barstool Sports, Big Cat, and PFT. Is this game, as far as sequels go, going to be like the Jump Street 22, which was exactly like Jump Street 21, the movie with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, or is it going to be Rocky 2, where in Rocky 2, Rocky won the title, and Rocky 1, he lost it? Meaning, will the Eagles be Rocky 2? Now, 22 Jump Street.
Yeah, I was going to say, but...
Which is a masterpiece, by the way. I watched it with my daughter the other day.
I know. Well, Manny, I didn't even know it existed until Manny emailed me a clip, and I basically peed my pants.
My name is Jeff.
I didn't know that Channing Tatum could even be funny.
Oh my God. Channing Tatum is
hysterical.
nothing but funny. He's like 10 funny movies, hasn't he?
Come on now, Mags.
What are the funny movies? He's
You
in
ever
Magic
see-
Mike. He's taking his clothes off. Like
21 and 22 Jump Street.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever seen him in the movie The End of the World with James Franco? He is
But he's
over
playing
the
himself.
top. He's sort of playing himself. He is over the top funny. Yeah, he's always funny.
Wait, so okay, forgive me. I get the Rocky 1, Rocky 2 analogy.
Yeah, so-
That's where Rocky gets his revenge on Apollo.
Well,
and he wins.
Rocky in the first one loses to Apollo
But gains his respect.
and says there ain't going to be no rematch. But of course, there's a rematch because they need the money. And then he wins the belt in the second one.
I know that.
Which is a far inferior movie, by the way.
So that makes sense to me. I don't get the 21, 22
So,
Jump Street.
The fear is that 22 Jump Street, they openly took the same exact plot from the first movie and just
Okay.
repeated it.
So it's just like every other sequel.
So it's going to be like, is the Eagles-Chiefs going to play out exactly like the last game?
Oh, with Chiefs winning again.
yeah,
in a
Chiefs
close
winning
one.
by a field goal. I think that's the most likely outcome, to be honest. If you actually look at the Chiefs' 17 wins in a row in games that are decided less than a score, of course it's going to be a 3-point Chiefs win. You know this, Maggie, but you've seen it against your team.
Yeah.
That is by far the most likely outcome.
No, the Chiefs just had a 3-point win over my team. We just watched this like less than a week ago.
And last year they had a 3-point. Last year was 3 points too? Wasn't it?
4, wasn't it? They kicked a field goal and they scored a touchdown. Oh, no, they wouldn't have kicked the extra point. So, yeah, it was probably 3. Anyway, I guess here's the thing, and I know you're very nervous, I can tell, and you're kind of like doing this protecting your feelings as an Eagle fan, and you don't want to, you're already come up with excuses. But you have a better team this time around.
Than last time.
You absolutely do.
Debatable.
No, I don't think so. Your defense is younger and better. You are relying on Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. Wow. Those guys were on the 2017 championship.
Brandon Graham's going to be on this team.
Which is crazy. He's basically a radio broadcaster at this point.
I think that is you bring up some good points, but listen, Fletcher Cox was still awesome then, and Jason Kelsey's gone. That's a big deal.
Yeah, but the tush push still works.
Not like
it
did. No, I mean, listen, they've already blown 2 this postseason. Or was it? Yeah, there's been 2 penalties.
You also flustered an opponent to the point where the referee basically had to scold them into stop jumping the line and trying to, get ahead of the tush push. I mean, you've had no turnovers so far this postseason. And again, the tush push works, dude. Like it may have stopped
shaky now. It's shaky. It didn't work on the 2-point conversion. That was insane.
But you don't. It's not like you're fumbling the ball.
No, but it's the efficiency has dropped off a cliff. It used to be 100%, and now it's dicey. I mean, you saw the 2-point conversion where they judged him short. He clearly made it, by the way. But the difference is the Eagles have Saquon now. That's the only point I will agree with you.
Saquon is the number one thing. I was looking at the defense with more of the younger guys and
that defense
and the interior. Yeah. But yeah, Saquon is a complete field tilter.
They do have Saquon. But it still feels like the Chiefs have the same advantages over the Eagles that they did last time. Like the Chiefs are going to be able to control the game with Kelsey and the run game, and who knows what wide receiver they'll find. It's going to be there's a good chance it's the same exact game.
I think the Eagles have a better shot. And what was the spread on the first game versus this game? Maybe we can grab our stats and info on that one. 855-212-4227. Are you excited to watch the Super Bowl rematch is the question.
Spread was Eagles -1.
Really?
Yes. Over was 51.
Oh, is it because of Mahomes' ankle?
Probably.
That Eagles team was really feeling it. I mean, they went up 24-14. That was a very good Eagles team.
Yeah,
their passing game. They had Steichen and Gannon, and everything was clicking for that team. This team has been a little choppier toward the end because the playoffs. Like, what do we really know? They beat a beat up Packers team. Like Jordan Love is a shell of himself. They beat the Rams in the snow, and they beat the Commanders. So they're very untested coming into this game, right? We have no idea how they're going to line up against it. The Bill, honestly, I think the Bills Eagles would have been a real close matchup. You're saying that this is house money for the Eagles. Like, should I feel upset or nervous in advance?
So I don't think it's house money, and here's why. There could be a major, devastating hangover once again if you lose this game. I did not like what I saw from the Eagles the first time around, and I get it. It's devastating to lose a Super Bowl. You guys, all the jokes come my way for being a Bills fan, but that was not good for your franchise to the point where Nick Sirianni had to get, more duties taken away from him, cycling out even more coordinators. I mean, It's a credit to the Eagles that they did not let this thing completely go off the rails. I think it's more a credit to Howie Roseman and this roster that he put together. It's just, you guys have too much talent. You hit on draft picks. This thing could have gone so sideways, we may never have heard from you for the next 3 or 4 years. And instead, you're back in the Super Bowl. You can't afford a bad loss like that.
There's no question. I mean, everyone knows what happened. Basically, they wanted Fangio to run the defense, but he just had taken the Miami job, and they played too late. So they hired 2 coordinators that they had no idea if they were any good, and they were both awful.
Yeah.
Then they brought in Matt Patricia, which made it even worse somehow. And their
Who
cornerback.
thinks that's a good idea?
Yeah, their cornerbacks got old. That was predictable. What's going to happen next year is Saquon's going to be burned out. That's the big fear, I would think, next year. But they do have a young defense, so maybe they're on an every other year, like a San Francisco Giants in the early 2010s. I'm not really worried about a Super Bowl hangover right now. We got things to focus on here. I don't think the Eagles. It's like your Bills.
But that's why house money doesn't apply to your team.
But it's not desperate. If the Bills were there, the desperation level would be 100.
Because there's ghosts. That's
right.
Why.
Well, they haven't been able to break through.
Yeah.
If Lamar Jackson was there, the desperation level would be 100. I think that the Eagles, for some reason, because they got one in 2017, just don't feel like that. And I think they're happy to be here a little bit, which is, I know Philly fans would kill me for saying that, but I think that they're pretty proud that they got to this point.
You know, I went back and was reading some articles about the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and the crowd breakdown, you were there.
Yeah.
The crowd breakdown, they said, was like 70-30 Eagles.
Yeah, it didn't feel.
So
yeah,
you
and
just won one in 2017,
Yeah.
but clearly the fan base was still totally on board.
The data on ticket sales is most of the sales are coming from Pennsylvania, very few from the Kansas City area. So I would think that, yeah, Eagles fans probably travel better than Chiefs fans. They're more Eagles fans. It's a bigger city. I think it's going to be definitely a Philly crowd.
See, I think Kansas City fans do travel well. I just think that, going to a Super Bowl is not cheap. And so how many people can afford to go year after year after year? Hopefully you go see one, see with your kids, your parents, your grandparents, whatever, and you kind of get your one. I can't imagine too many people are saying, all right, this is our 5th one in 6 years. Let's get the band back together and pony up, $4,000 a ticket to get back into the stadium. It's a lot.
You're right. Also, Philly's just a much, much bigger city. There's many, many more fans. I mean, Philly's, I think, the 5th biggest city in the country, or 4th. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of green in the crowd. You're right. Like, why are you buying tickets for this? They're like, we'll be here next year anyway. They're probably checking out the next 5 Super Bowl sites to be like, well, Mahomes will be there. I can go to San Francisco, visit some relatives. Like, if you're a Chiefs fan, it's like, this is business as usual.
You're just scouting cities at this point to go that you like to vacation in. Well, New Orleans is not a bad idea. 855-212-4227. Bogusch has headlines for us. Lots going on, pal.
Guys, good morning. These headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you could save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Sadly, there is a sports connection to this horrific midair collision in Washington, D.C. Russian media says 2 world champion figure skaters were on the flight, as were members of U.S. figure skating. The sports governing body here in the States says younger skaters, their families, and coaches were returning from a development camp that was held after the World Championships in Wichita. The next press conference from D.C. is scheduled for just about an hour from now. A deep exhale and unimportant NFL coaching news this morning. The Jets are hiring Steve Wilks as defensive coordinator. The former Cardinals head coach did not have a job this past season after running the Niners defense back in 2023. And the Raiders are expected now to keep defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. He was originally hired by Josh McDaniels 3 years ago, stayed on with Antonio Pierce, and now Pete Carroll is keeping him as well. In the NBA last night, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 52 a week after a career-high 54, but the Thunder lose to the Warriors in San Francisco, 116-109. The Mavs outscored the Pelicans, 137-136. New Orleans has now dropped 4 in a row. The Cavs, a wire-to-wire, 126-106 win in Miami. And some issues for Wemby last night against the Clippers.
This is what happened, a little dust up at the end. Barnes hits the 3 off that Wemby block. Zubac then kind of shoves Victor, and he goes flying. Wemby was hot.
Yeah, well, he didn't kind of shove him. He ran right at Victor and throws him into the ground. And you see, he goes right after Victor there, and that should have been a technical.
That's the best recap from Spurs TV. So what happened was Wemby blocked Ivica Zubac on one end. Zubac thought he was fouled, no whistle, so he gets up angry. They go down the floor, play continues, and as a 3 is going in, he runs over Wemby. It says him sprawling into the corner of the court. Wemby gets up, charges at him, kind of, gets stopped. Nothing really happens, so Wemby upset postgame.
It feels unfair sometimes, but it's... Of course, we talk about it with the staff, and there is some stuff I have to do to help myself.
So while you sit here and verbally attack him, Perloff, he's getting pushed around on NBA courts as well.
I'm not surprised. It's how NBA works, right?
Well, he's got to stand up. He's got to stand up for himself.
Yeah, you got.
I like this.
Yeah. I mean, that's a rite of passage. I agree. You have to say, definitely push around the big guy, push around the young guy.
But once again, because the first person that stops him is a regular-sized human security guard, weird. And it doesn't look real. It looks like he's like an avatar or something being correct. Like it's just a remarkable visual every time he's near regular people.
It is true. Although I find it interesting. We're like, this is the future of the league. It's like, no, it's not. It's one guy. I guess maybe Chet Holmgren, but it's really, you have to first off be beyond the regular freaks of nature that the NBA players are. And then beyond that, like it's not sustainable because there's not guys like this walking around the earth.
Right. Wait, what's your point on this one?
The fact that people say, like, oh, Wemby's like, this is the next era of the NBA. It's like, no, it's not. It's a one-off of this dude
People
who
are saying
is this
that-
alien like body type combined with athleticism.
People are saying there's more 7'6" Frenchmen coming to the NBA. I actually wasn't aware.
With guard skills?
Yeah. I thought Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was the next hero.
Yeah, why do you think they're closing the borders?
Yeah, not. I didn't know that there's an army of Wemby's about to come into the NBA.
Sean Gilgeous-Alexander.
I think that people are like, oh, this is the next era, the big man. I'm like, he's like the big man times 2.
Well, we might get worse versions of him. Like, just like we had worse versions of Kevin Durant. Like, other 6'11" guys who could shoot and kind of dribble, but they're not Kevin Durant. Like, it's always the original, and then there's the knockoffs.
Right.
That's probably what we'll get a Wemby. Like, we'll probably be another 7'2" guy who can dribble and shoot a little bit. And we'll say he's like Wemby, and he's not.
We already have that guy. His name's Kristaps Porzingis.
But there's never
he was a unicorn. He was pre-Wemby.
Right, exactly. But I mean, Wemby's kind of from him.
Yeah, right. I think, Kristaps is like the OG 7'4", but he can run the floor, he can shoot.
He had the game of his life last night, right? Isn't that?
Porzingis?
Yeah, he went Steph Curry on somebody. He had like 9 threes. But anyway, there's never another Shaq, though. Nobody ever.
Yep.
There was never anyone. Who was the second Shaq? Andre Drummond? I mean,
Tractor Trailer.
Tractor Trailer was 6'8".
No, that's a joke.
I know.
I think they thought it was going to be Yao Ming, but Yao didn't really
Well,
have
Yao's closer to Wemby. Like, nobody was ever
game.
powerful like Shaq. Yeah, I don't think there's another Wemby coming.
Dwight Howard thinks he's Shaq.
3 defensive players of the year.
There's a
Thinks
similarity.
is the key word in that sentence.
I mean, you could fit 2 Dwight Howards in Shaq. Shaq was just so much bigger than everybody. Dwight Howard was, how tall do you think Dwight Howard was?
6'10".
6'11", yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Shaq is gigantic. I don't know. I don't think Dwight Howard is quite physically like Shaq. You know who the future is, though? And it's
Dylan
Ahmed
Brunson.
Thompson's league, right? I mean,
There you go.
I've never seen
I
a
thought
guy
you'd say
take
Cooper
off on
Flagg's
social
mom.
media. Like, it's all about Ahmed. Do I have the right name? Like, he's amazing.
Ahmed Thompson, yep, you got it.
Oh, my God. My social timeline is all him. Like, I don't think Wemby's the future. Like, you're right. This is a what-off.
Amen, excellence.
This is like that meme of Stone Cold and Vince McMahon shaking hands. This is me and Perloff agreeing on a basketball take.
Well, you know
Ahmed
when
Thompson is awesome.
When America discovered Anthony Edwards was ridiculously good, that feels like that's happened in the last few weeks with Ahmed Thompson.
It's wild. Like, he's like, oh, this guy, he's just the next superstar. Like, wow, we didn't think about that.
Well, first of all, he's got a twin. So first we had to distinguish one guy from the other guy.
No idea.
They didn't play college basketball. They played for Overtime Elite.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why people may not be familiar. Because I don't even know. I have the Overtime Elite app, and I still don't know if I can watch the games in there.
They
I
don't
love
exist
those
anymore,
guys.
right? Or is that this is the last year of
Yeah,
it?
I think OTE is over with.
It is?
Yeah.
I got to call my friend.
G
All right,
League
should
back
delete
to
the app.
you.
G League Ignite also no longer a
Right.
thing.
But I don't know where you heard
Wait,
that. I'm not sure where you heard this take that Wemby is the future. like,
Well, like Wemby might be
Wemby
the
is the
future, but
future,
like
but-
not that there's not like more guys wandering the French countryside at 7'5" with a handle.
Yeah. Like some owners like, go find me the next Wemby. Uh-oh.
Search every French
Yeah.
winery and chateau.
Yeah,
Hey, but you know what? It's a big step up from Frederick Weiss.
I mean, maybe we get one every 35
wow,
years.
we got Zach Edey. He's kind of like that.
But Zaki isn't French.
No, I know, but he's tall.
Tall.
Sure.
Canadian.
Doesn't fall over.
He's Canadian, which is close to French. Is he from Montreal?
Closer than the 5 of us sitting here.
They speak French in that country.
By the way, Wemby and the Spurs lost this game last night, 128-116 to the Clippers. Men's number 1 Auburn, an 87-74 win at LSU. They are now 19-1, matching the best 20-game start in program history. Number 6 Houston took down West Virginia 63-49 for a 13-game win streak. And Notre Dame football is reportedly hiring veteran assistant Chris Ash as defensive coordinator. He replaces Al Golden, who took that same job with the Bengals. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Coming up, we have to check in with America's team, making some hires, making some declarations. We'll do that next. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. You're familiar with the show. You know that music. It's our Cowboy Quickie music. We talked a little about the Brian Schottenheimer introductory press conference, which was really just the Jerry show.
Right, Schottenheimer was there, but it definitely wasn't his show. I totally agree.
He did get to talk briefly, and, he was mentioned. But no, this was about Jerry. This was Jerry being very reflective and wistful at times, reminding people what an outside-the-box thinker he is and risk-taker because his origin story in football of buying the Dallas Cowboys, and we got the whole TikTok of that. So, good luck, Cowboy fans. However, one thing that came out of this, well, two things. One, Matty Eberflus is going to be your defensive coordinator, somebody who Cowboy fans are familiar with, was a linebacker coach for a long time, and developed some really successful linebackers like Sean Lee and others.
Okay.
The one thing I don't understand here is there was a thought that Dak Prescott said this, that his future is tied to the success of Brian Schottenheimer.
All right. I mean, kind of makes sense on the surface. Next coach.
I don't see this that way at all.
What do you mean? Of course his immediate future is tied to Schotty.
Okay, well, yeah, this season. I'm telling you, Diana Rossini had some good reporting on this, and I believe her. I think the Cowboys were blindsided by the fact they could not get a new contract with Mike McCarthy. I do not think they were expecting to be in a coaching search. Diana said as much. They interviewed 4 candidates. Jerry was asked about it. He started crying. I do not think that they anticipated being in this spot. And so they were like, Schottenheimer. They were basically picking between Kellen Moore and Schottenheimer. And Kellen Moore just happened to be in the Super Bowl now as the Eagles offensive coordinator. So you can't wait on him because the Senior Bowl's going on and you got all these things. I think Schottenheimer is either a bridge, a Band-Aid. He's not long-term, in my opinion, unless he really blows him out of the water this year. So is Dak's fate tied to Brian Schottenheimer? Absolutely not.
I'll do a show bet on that, and you got to give me odds. You think Jerry's going to do one and done Brian Schottenheimer, who he clearly loves like a third son? I mean, I think Jerry never fires his coach. It takes him forever to fire a coach. So Schotty's not – I doubt he's going to be a bridge because I think he probably sticks around like Jason Garrett style. It feels like Jason Garrett 2.0.
I don't know. I think they wanted Garrett, I think Schottenheimer just feels like plan B. I think they wanted Mike McCarthy. This feels like plan B.
I think they settled on Mike McCarthy. I don't know why I don't actually have any idea why they kept Garrett around when he couldn't break through. So I just think that his style is to keep guys around that he likes.
Yeah, well, let's see. So that's your Cowboy Quickie.
You think he would do one and done? Is he double check this? Even Dave Campo, I think, got a few years, and he had no success whatsoever. I'd be surprised if he was out. But that being said, I get this. I'm not surprised at all that Dak says this. It's kind of something you would say in this situation, no?
Well, they tried a little bit to go out of their way to say that this was not just about Dak Prescott, the hiring of Brian Schottenheimer, but it's kind of course it is, right? You want to keep if all else fails and if you didn't see this coming and you need to make a hire in 2 weeks, well, maybe keeping the continuity for your quarterback is a smart thing to do in this day and age for this type of league. So, I think it is about Dak. It is about his success. But if Brian Schottenheimer falls on his face, and let's just say it's a Nathaniel Hackett situation, he's just not ready, I don't think that they're going to say, all right, Dak, you're out too.
Well, I mean, Dak said it himself. He's like, I got 3 more years on my deal here, and that's tied to. I don't think people have bright hopes for Dak Prescott. It's funny you said Dak Prescott's future. I'm like, Dak Prescott's future. I mean, he'll be lucky if he can stay upright. The second you said that, I'm like, I have no prospects for Dak Prescott to take. I don't think he's going to be a Super Bowl quarterback, and because of the situation, I like Dak Prescott. I think he's a good quarterback, but. Is anyone like, wow, I'm so excited we have Dak on board? I don't get that vibe at all from the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, he's coming off of another lower body injury.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely over 30, about 30.
There are a lot of teams that are excited about their quarterbacks. The Cowboys are definitely not on that list. Packers, Commanders. There are a lot of, obviously the teams like the Texans who have these young guys. The Cowboys are like, yeah, we still have Dak. That's my vibe.
They just paid him.
That doesn't mean it was smart.
Meanwhile, no to the show bet because I already owe a show bet about Dak Prescott. Because I thought that the Cowboys were actually, for once, going to do the smart move, which would be to say goodbye to Dak Prescott after the season. Instead, they do the opposite. They make him the highest paid quarterback in the league and give him a contract extension. And now I've got to go to the Waffle House and eat 24 hours worth of waffles.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not making another Dak-related bet because I'm 0 for 1.
Yeah, I just think I would win that bet because Schottenheimer seems like you took all the mid Cowboys coaches and combined them into one person and have Brian. He's part Jason Garrett, part Wade Phillips, part Wade Phillips, son of a coach, famously,
son of bum.
Part Dave Campo, part Chan Gailey. It's like they glommed every Jerry coach into one guy because Jerry's like, screw it, I want all the attention. I'm going to hire the lowest wattage coach possible. He's not even messing around anymore. He could have interviewed.
He probably could have had Marty if he really wanted him, but didn't even get the dad.
I think he's like, well, people expect me to interview Ben Johnson. I don't think so. I am the show. He's getting up there, and he's not even messing around. He's like, I am going to do all the post-game interviews. People are going to come to me. I'm not hiring a coach that other people are going to pay attention to. Those are big waffles. Yeah.
Speaking of, you're absolutely right, by the way. But speaking of the waffle bet, can I share an email that we got recently to Maggie and Perloff at gmail.com? So it's going to be after the Super Bowl, obviously. We got to let the dust settle. This should really be about the teams that are in the Super Bowl and potentially about Perloff's pain or jubilation. So, as you guys know, I have to go to a Waffle House and eat 24 hours worth of waffles. For every waffle I eat, an hour comes off the 24 hours, right? So we got an email from John. I'm going to withhold his last name because I didn't ask him for permission here. John sent an email to Maggie and Perloff at gmail.com. When I tell you he laid this thing out like EJ, like he's a producer. He said the dilemma in bold: eating 24 waffles or spending 24 hours at the Waffle House. Nailed it. The proposal, and then bullet points of how to execute this thing, how to make it more fun. He tied in a charitable component to it, which we love to do around here. Anytime we can do something that makes us look stupid and also help somebody else, that's our sweet spot. And he had even clarifications about he answered every question that we could have had. He thinks, should I share a little?
No, I want to hear the strategy. What's his eating strategy?
So here's the strategy. He said that we should do the show from a Waffle House. So that takes from 24 hours down to 20 hours because we're a 4-hour show. Then he says we should have celebrity sports broadcasters call into the show to bail me out, air quotes. And for every celebrity we get to call in, we get to take 1 hour off the bet and maybe a charitable component to that. And
that sounds like a cop-out.
He said that we get bonus points if it's a woman in broadcasting who's calling in to encourage me.
All right.
And I get to take an hour off that way.
I see why.
I love this.
Maggie had a bounce in her step about this email. No.
What do you mean, no?
I'm saying like people are going to be upset. People are going to be upset if you try to get out of the waffle bet.
Dude, this is not getting out of it. This is me having to do some serious legwork here to book these interviews.
Oh, my God. This is not going to go over well for you, Maggie.
By the way, can I tell you a clarification that he made about if a sports broadcaster or journalist is going to call in? He said, example, Dan Patrick qualifies. Todd Fritz does not.
Oh, that's mean. What's wrong with Fritzy?
You're also going to make this a lot tougher if I can't get any of the Danettes.
That being said,
at least I have their numbers.
Yeah, if our audience agrees for you to find a way to eat less waffles, then maybe I'll go for it. But I don't think people are going to like that.
You're telling me that getting a lifeline from like Kevin Harlan to take off an hour and to get some kind of charitable component, that's a no-go? I love this.
Yeah, I mean, of course you love that, but in replacing maple syrup with weak sauce sounds like a bad idea to me. This is, I don't know. I mean, you guys are over there.
Like celebrity people could actually like eat a waffle with you. Like if they came and like ate one, that would take off an hour.
I think the geography of that might be hard.
More.
Yeah, that might be tough. We're going to be in the middle of Pennsylvania somewhere.
Is this? All right, well, we could talk about it. Is this a calorie thing? Do you not want to?
Not at all. Calorie thing. I had to put down a whole large pizza once for a different show, but no, it's not the calories. I just think this would be cool. Get to talk to some famous broadcasters. Get to do the charitable thing. Get a little women's empowerment aspect.
Okay, well, let's do all that for charity money, but you still have to eat the same amount of waffles.
No. It's not about the calories. It's about the survival.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Chiefs looking for a three-peat. Eagles going to try to stop them once again. And welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We're talking a lot about the Super Bowl. And one thing's undeniable about the Chiefs. You want to talk about Mahomes and Andy Reid and just how good this combination has been. But they don't win blowouts.
No.
Especially not lately. Especially not in these Super Bowls. In fact, the Super Bowls they've won have been come from behind. You know, whether they're trailing in the fourth quarter against San Francisco the first time around, whether they were trailing to your Eagles by 10 points at halftime 2 years ago, trailing in overtime because San Francisco got the ball first last year, Perloff. These have not been boat races. These have not been these crazy win by a dozen points. So does this make you feel better about them or worse? Is it a sign of strength or a sign of weakness that they keep winning these very close games?
I think this is a sign of weakness. I think this can't keep happening. And at some point, you have to lose these close games because we saw the New England Patriots were winning a bunch of close Super Bowls. Eventually, they lost. You can't. It's an oblong, weirdly shaped football. Eventually, it's not going to bounce your way. So this gives me hope as an Eagles fan. If it's going to be a close game, eventually one call is going to go against them. One spot is going to go against them. Somebody's going to fumble. Something has to happen. You can't keep tempting fate like this with these close games.
Okay, but Perloff, they're 17-0. Right. 17 consecutive one-score games that they've won. So by your theory, don't you think they would have lost one of these by now? I mean, we talk a lot about coin flips and roulette wheels, and whenever we talk with Nick Costas from You Better You Bet, talk about something that just happened is not really a determining factor on the next thing that's going to happen. I think you're talking about games to infinity. So every game that you play, I don't think just because you had a one-score win last time doesn't mean you're any better or worse the next time. I actually think that it's a sign of strength that in a league that has this much parity, in a league that has a salary cap, in a league that makes it harder for the defending champ because your strength of schedule is always harder the more successful you are. The fact that they keep winning these one-score games. And by the way, another thing that I think is very different from the NFL of like the early 2000s, much like all sports, the use of analytics, I think, has made things a lot more even, right? Like everyone's got all the data. It's really hard to find these big advantages, I think.
Then why are the same teams win 4 games every year?
Well,
then?
I think because quarterback is just far and away the most important thing. So the moment you have one, unfortunately, the analytics have not helped us determine who's going to be a bust of a draft pick and who's not. I'm sure it's trying. But I just think there's so much more information. There's so many more guys who come from one tree who get spread out over the league. They're familiar with each other's systems. The fact that you win these one-score games to me means you are going above and beyond. You are even scarier. You are even better than a team that was winning blowouts back in the day.
Yeah, I understand your argument. It's a good one, but it gives me hope that it's going to be a close game. I just think that eventually something's going to happen. There's going to be a helmet catch. There's going to be, you mentioned Mario Manningham with a crazy circus catch on the sideline. Eventually, they can't control these games to that point. Something weird is going to happen. I mean, it happened against the Bengals a few years ago when they were up 21-3 in the first half and lost a close game. For some reason, Mahomes forgot how to play quarterback in the second half. Lou Anarumo figured him out. Something could happen where a close game could not go their way. They also lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. That game wasn't even close. That was a blowout because their O-line was hurt. Yeah, I feel better knowing that this is going to be a close game because I think if we were going head-to-head, the Chiefs have a big advantage. But if they're going to mess around and keep the Eagles in the game, that makes me actually feel more confident because, the Eagles are underdogs here. So we're guaranteed a close game at least because of the way the Chiefs play.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with the fact that I'd take a game that goes in the fourth quarter here. If you gave me a choice, because I think on paper the Chiefs could run. The old Chiefs would have run away against this team possibly.
Yeah, I don't think so. 855-212-4227. The Chiefs winning 17 consecutive one-score games. Is that a sign of strength or a sign of weakness? I think there is something. What do we talk about a lot when we get to this point of the season in terms of the Super Bowl? We always talk about experience.
Yeah.
Right? I think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick definitely had a leg up over a lot of opponents just by understanding the rhythm of the game, how long the game is, how to keep your body fresh, all of that. Now, the Eagles have some experience in this game too, but experience matters. So why wouldn't the experience, the muscle memory of being in tight games, in close games, be a positive thing for the Chiefs and a sign and a predictor that they keep winning these close games, meaning that they can keep winning them forever? Because I think we see this sometimes in sports where teams that are dominant and have these big leads and big runs, and then they finally get into a dogfight of a game, and all of a sudden they're looking around at each other like, who's going to take over? We haven't been tested in this way. The Chiefs have been beyond tested in these one-score games. It makes you stronger.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, but also you could look at this like, well, why do they keep on getting these one-score games? Like, no offense to your Bills, they should have run away with that game. That was like they opened the wide open door because they're playing so conservatively. Don't you think? Did you expect them to kind of blow out the Bills early in that game? They looked so much stronger in the first half, but they let their opponent hang around. So maybe it's a weakness. I mean, they really. Again, I'm an Eagles fan. It sounds like I'm mushing the team. Like they should feel confident. Hey, we can beat this team. We have Mahomes and we have Kelsey. Like we should be the favorite. We could get a lead and put their foot on the gas and run away with this game. But you know that the Chiefs are going to bring everybody back. And they let the Texans, who are a mess, back into that game. They are screwing around with leads, and I don't know exactly how it's happening. But you could also look at this as a weakness. They keep on getting involved in these one-score games against inferior teams.
855-212-4227, asking you if these 17 consecutive one-score wins by the Chiefs is a sign of strength or a sign of weakness. We also have a poll question up here for you. Got a couple. Are you excited for the Chiefs and Eagles Super Bowl rematch?
I can predict the outcome of that. That ain't going to be good.
It's not pretty.
No, people do not want to see these two teams.
72% say no. Still early. Guys, get on board. At least it's going to be, I think we're guaranteed a good, close, interesting game.
Yeah. It's not bad. The three-peat thing is interesting. You can hate on Taylor. There's things to do with the Super Bowl, but it would be cool for, I think, people to see new blood.
Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4227. William is in Indianapolis. Good morning, William.
Hi. Just commenting on Perloff's take on the sign of weakness. I think it's a sign of strength because all the points that Perloff made happened in the Bills game. He talked about the ball not going to bounce their way. The Bills recovered all of their fumbles. They're going to lose the fumble somewhere along. Mahomes lost that fumble on that play to that keep and read. And then a call's not going to go their way. Deion Dawkins had a false start on that Matt Collins touchdown right before half. That didn't go their way. So those things are already happening, and the Chiefs are still overcoming them and winning games.
But, William, don't you think that they should have handled that game a little cleaner? Like, it shouldn't have really come down in the fourth quarter. Both the Texans game and the Bills game, I thought they were kind of playing with their food.
I mean, I think obviously you can always play a better game, but I think great teams find ways to win games and overcome all those things that happen during the games. I think people are just overlooking that those things are still happening and the Chiefs are still winning.
William, I think it's a great point. I mean, it backs up my point, so thank you for making it and even adding some context of the most recent game we saw. I mean, let's not get crazy here. The Chiefs weren't going to blow the Bills out.
They should have blown that Bills team out. The Bills, what was the Bills' offense? It was
the Bills didn't. Josh Allen looked a little shaky coming out to start the game, but they settled in.
they just didn't really have any passing offense. Like the Chiefs had that lead. And you have to admit, when the Bills went up 22-21, I think we're all like, wait, how did that just happen?
Well, they stole the momentum back. That's how. Jeff is in Tucson. Jeff, what do you think? These close wins by the Chiefs, does it make them, does it a sign of strength or a sign of weakness?
Well, you know, Perloff is so much a getter. He's trying to convince us that the Eagles are going to break through because Kansas City is going to have the ball bounced his way. Well, guess what, Perloff? Kansas City has gained more strength by these 17 straight, time and time again, and the ball ain't always bouncing their way.
It kind of most often bounces their way when it matters.
But when it matters, they lost the momentum in the game. But when it mattered, did Mahomes roll out a couple times to get some first downs?
Oh, yeah, of course.
The game? And isn't that what he's going to do against your Eagles?
Definitely.
He's going to roll out. He's going to throw a little pass. And he's going to get into the end zone a couple times. And the Eagles, boy, if they turn the ball, hey, could you imagine if your running back turns the ball over just one time out of his hands, what that's going to do to your Eagle team?
Wait,
Saquon?
Jeff, I'd rather not, to be honest.
Jeff, a little nightmare fuel for Perloff on this Thursday.
Hey, Maggie, I'm not going to let him just run over us with his Eagles because he's such a bandwagon Eagle fan. I'm not doing it.
Jeff, at least someone has a little integrity around here. Thank you for making the show better and bringing a little decorum to this place. You are bandwagon central. Now, with the Eagles, that's really your number one team.
I mean, come on.
But you love to mush this team. You love to play mind tricks, mind games.
Well, honestly, I don't think this is a perfect Eagles team, not by a long stretch. I think the other Super Bowl team was better. I just think that the Chiefs are going to let them hang around for sure, and that gives the Eagles a shot. I know it's 17-0, and listen, I am ignoring the logic to a large extent, but I feel for some reason like there's something weird about this Eagles team where they could come away with a close win. I don't know exactly how. They feel like they have a little bit of this close game fate. You know, the Rams came back on them and almost stole that game, and I don't know. I feel like the Eagles have the formula. They have the running quarterback. They have the running back where they can also win a close game. They have the defense. Now, the Chiefs, remember the Chiefs-Bengals game? 4th and 16 or something crazy like that. And they got the pass interference. Yeah, early in the season. And they got that pass interference. Like, they didn't get that play. They lose that game. Eventually, they're not going to have that call. Eventually, there's got to be, it can't go on forever. It's not the Harlem Globetrotters and the Washington Generals. 17-0 at some point has to end.
Had you even contemplated a Saquon Barkley fumble until Jeff brought it up?
I'd like to see Saquon's fumble numbers. No, I hadn't really thought about it, but the earlier caller did remind me that Mahomes had a big trouble on that RPO handling snap. Mahomes couldn't figure out the RPOs at all either. Maybe they have the fumbles. But Saquon, how many times has Saquon fumbled this year? Does anyone have the stat?
We can look
Saquon Barkley.
What happened again? Remind me at the end of the Falcon game how the Eagles lost that game.
He dropped the pass. That would have been a first down. Fourth down.
That's what it was. And all the Giants fans rejoiced like, he's actually not that good. And then he went on to have one of the best seasons of anyone ever.
Saquon, by the way, had 2 fumbles.
Nope, the season ended long ago.
Did they lose?
It was week 2, and then they called it quits on the season.
Yep, that's exactly what
Do you happen to know, did they lose the fumbles?
Does not say on NFL Football Reference if they lost them, but he had 2 fumbles this season. I don't think of him as a fumbler, typically.
No.
The most he's had in the season is...
That's me knocking on wood.
Sorry. I know.
Not on metal.
The most he's ever had in the season is 2. So he's not a fumbler.
That was good strategy by Jeff to bring up Saquon fumbling. Now it's out in the universe. Good job.
2 fumbles for Saquon, please. 2 of them.
Man,
One
you
of them
still
in the
want to
4th.
see him do poorly?
Yes.
Just because you're a bitter Giants fan?
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm a Penn State guy, too. Remember that part.
I know. You realize that's about you, right?
Yeah, I know.
I feel like the Chiefs have a strategy for Saquon.
What do you think it is?
I think they
stop him.
They do not let the Eagles offense on the field.
Dynamite idea.
I think they chip down the field and they try for 8-minute drives to keep Saquon out of this game.
How could you tell that that's not just the regular strategy that they apply to every game?
Absolutely could, but I think they really go at least they took one shot against the Bills. I don't think they take any shots. I think you're going to see the most conservative Chiefs fan because they don't think Saquon's going to fumble, and B, they don't want him to get a rhythm going. We all know that's the best way to stop an offense. And Saquon, just do not let him get possessions.
855-212-4227. So we got two questions for you out in the universe. One, are you excited to watch this Super Bowl rematch? Two, the Chiefs winning these close games, is it a sign of strength or a sign of weakness? I'll tell you a sign of the times. From yesterday, a conversation that went slightly off the rails and how it's now impacting our lives twofold. We get to that in just a moment. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam, just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. All right, Maggie. You said you wanted to bring something up, which is usually fun. What do you got?
Yeah, a sign of the times, really. And we've been talking a lot about the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl and whether the Chiefs winning close games is a sign of strength or weakness and whether or not you're looking forward to the rematch. Can I just bring up something from yesterday's show quickly? So Wednesdays, we do something called The Great Debate. And yesterday's was awesome. We did greatest athletes to never win a title.
Yeah.
And our pal Jay in Nashville went a little outside the box and brought up Anna Kournikova. Maybe loose interpretation of greatest. And then we looked her up, and she actually won some doubles titles, so she doesn't really apply, but it got us onto Anna Kournikova conversation.
I just found out that she's married with Enrique Iglesias.
You just found that out?
I just found that out.
Man.
Continue with your story.
And that's a long time, too.
Wait, they're still married?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay, well, now the Anna Kournikova conversation is going to continue. I kid you not, sign of the times, we all know that our devices are listening to us, and we've signed off on this and given them permission by not reading the fine print and just checking on boxes saying I agree to all terms. I got fed no fewer than 3 Anna Kournikova stories between when the show ended and when I checked my phone like around 7 or 8 o'clock at night last night. Like my timeline was just, did you know she left? She was seen in a wheelchair and a walking boot. Apparently she had some kind of foot surgery or something.
I mean, I knew it because I got served it as well.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Not me, because I looked her up on the company computer in front of me yesterday.
I don't think it matters. I think it's our phones that are listening.
Well, yeah,
to
but
us.
it's so funny you think that. I heard this professor say, like, you don't understand like how much information you're actually inputting. Like there might have been a tweet to the show about that call. Then all of a sudden Anna Kournikova is in the show. Like there's a lot of digital footprints that could lead you to Anna Kournikova besides your voice.
You think so?
Definitely.
Okay, but I didn't tweet about it until after I had already been served multiple stories about her. Also, kind of crazy that we haven't talked about her forever, and now she's on page 6. They're calling her a Russian model. They don't even mention the tennis.
Well, that could easily be where Jay in Nashville was thinking of her. Maybe he saw the headline.
No, because it was from yesterday after the show. It was from January 29th at 3:08 p.m. That's yesterday afternoon.
Yeah. But
it's
you were
just
also
crazy.
You were monitoring the chat, which had her name in it on your computer, right?
That's true.
So that could have been the impetus for you getting fed stuff.
Okay, but my computer and phone aren't attached to each other.
But aren't they like by different
But
websites?
you're signed into YouTube.
Maybe,
You're signed into YouTube.
But like
and also
one's an iPhone, one's a Dell. You know, like they're different. They're not compatible companies. I don't know.
And when I typed into the chat Anna Kournikova, wowza, wowza, wowza in all caps, that might have led to something.
When you just image search, it's like, no, I don't want
by
any
the way,
words.
the thing is, everybody on your server was image searching Anna Kournikova the second that call came up. So there was 50 searches.
Well, I mean, something happened in the universe, and we don't want her to be hurt, but she was definitely in a wheelchair, in a walking boot, getting wheeled to a car.
You know, it's funny. I worked at the U.S. Open for 5 years and interviewed almost everyone that we requested. Never her, though.
By the way, she's in this wheelchair. She still looks great.
Of course she does.
Yeah.
Anna Kournikova.
She's a Russian model.
She's going to look great until her last breath.
And in my beef with the headline, too, like, if you say someone's in a wheelchair, it kind of anticipates that they're very gravely
Yeah.
Right.
No, when you guys told me she's in a wheelchair, I thought things would gone awry.
She definitely looks like she maybe had a sprained ankle, maybe even broke her foot, but like it doesn't look like she looks fine.
Yeah, former athlete has foot problem is not dire. You're right about that. She was gone. They saw her through Miami's Bal Harbor shops, and she's got all these big Chanel bags with her. Like she's doing good.
Got the sunglasses on. Looks like her daughter's there. She's chilling.
They've got balloons. She's Miami royalty, by the way, because everyone except for Manny knew that she's married to Enrique Iglesias.
I didn't even get put in a wheelchair, and I was in way worse shape when I got hurt, leave the hospital than she is right
Yeah,
now.
you're not cute enough.
That's true.
They're just like, EJ, figure it out.
No, they didn't give an F.
Just push you down the stairs.
They didn't give an F. When it was time for me to leave that surgery, they were like, oh, you're awake? All right. Well, we're calling your fiance. Time to go. Just get your stuff. I'm like, I don't know where I am. I'm still drugged.
It is shocking in some ways how quickly they let you leave the hospital after really big medical things. Like as soon, having kids, obviously, you realize you give birth and you are out on the street. It's like they basically hand you a goodie bag and you're gone. It's like, here's a couple diapers. Like, I've never done this before. Figure it out.
Basically. It's bad. It's crazy. I'm still thinking about it. I've never had surgery before, so I've never been like, I don't do drugs or anything like that. So I've never been like out of my mind like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what's happening to me. I know I'm still injured, but the lights are bright. I feel slower than normal. It was so bad. Andrea's like, come on, we gotta go. I'm like, where am I?
They give you that stuff and you are high as the sky.
Yeah, did you love it?
No, I hated it.
Oh, it's the best feeling.
Makes some people nauseous, I think.
Yes, that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I was shocked I didn't puke everywhere. I was so close.
So I was thinking about this, actually. The first time I ever was given like medical grade drugs was laughing gas at the dentist, and I was like 12. They had to pop out some teeth of mine. I was hallucinating like I was dancing with a teddy bear. It was weird, man.
Hey, laughing gas? What's
nitrous oxide.
Yeah.
Hippie crack, EJ.
Yeah, you ever go to a party with a nitrous tank? You're in for a great time.
Usually hosted by a dentist.
We used to. I don't know. I shouldn't admit. We used to get nitrous tanks down the Jersey Shore one summer, like for every Friday and Saturday night. It was the best time ever. I
mean, Bogusch knows about this. You're in a couple Dave Matthews Band parking lots. You don't think there's nitrous balloons going around?
I'm sure that I have not seen a tank. There've been balloons. I've seen balloons, yeah.
But I would just take the balloons where you can make your voice sound like a mouse. That's even better.
That's just helium.
Yeah. I would do a helium party too. You can get a little high by sucking a bunch of helium balloons and pretend entertaining your kids. I've tried.
You can also get high from charity work. Do charity work.
Like a dopamine hit. Yeah, by the way, not an endorsement. And I was thinking, this is like being 12 years old and being given nitrous oxide. Like, that is not okay.
Well, I had laughing gas my whole... And first of all, not for popping teeth out. Like, they knocked me out to do that when they took my wisdom teeth out. But laughing gas was a big thing when we were kids.
I know. How is that safe? I don't know. You're basically getting
What's not safe about it?
A 12-year-old to hallucinate.
See, I never got to the point of dancing teddy bears. I just felt a little.
Yeah, you might have had a heavy-handed dentist. Like, you're not supposed to be tripping.
How about this?
One for Maggie, one for me, kind of dentist.
You know what? I'm starting to think not just one for Maggie, one for me. The dentist at the time also let my stepdad sit in there while he knocked the teeth out because they were friends. And I'm like, was everyone passing this thing around?
Did you go to Panama with Aaron Rodgers and do ayahuasca with this thing? What are you talking about?
Binghamton, New York dentist, man.
Like Little Shop of Horrors, Steve Martin.
I've just found out that I need my wisdom teeth removed, so I can't wait to get just obliterated off of laughing gas. Keep coming, Doc.
They're good. At this age, they'll knock you out. You could not handle that. You got to go unconscious for that, right?
Try me.
Dude,
Manny.
Sometimes, are you guys, if there's like a knee surgery or something, would you want to be awake and see it? Because that's like a trend now.
Absolutely to the hell no.
I want to be out.
I could not imagine that. I definitely did not look up any like videos of what they did to my knee.
No, don't do
But
that.
just like,
yeah,
I already had a good idea when I looked up at least like not the images or videos, but like just like what the procedure entails. No chance.
No, I think it's best to be knocked out as they're wheeling you into the room.
I
don't
wouldn't
even
be
want to
insane.
get in the room.
Yeah. I would be knocked out when my wife was delivering the baby. I'm like, just knock me out. There's nothing. I'm not helping you here. Push.
No words of encouragement.
Oh, no, knock me out. I'll wake up and the baby will be here. Yeah, I'm a big, no, I'm not a local anesthesia guy at all.
Me neither.
Anesthesia is a bit dangerous, but still, I prefer to just be out. But whippets are definitely fun time.
And they're not good for your brain.
Back to the whippets.
Not good for your
With
brain.
your Odyssey Sports Minute.
Send that one out to the affiliates. What kind of endorsement deals could we get out of that? It's like the official dentist of the Maggie and Perloff show.
Cheech and Chong.
What'd you say? The heavy-handed? You're right.
Yeah, you're definitely not supposed to trip on laughing gas.
I've heard other people who do have slight hallucination.
Yeah.
It can be serious. And also, some people are, my dad can't do laughing gas. Like, he has a reaction to it.
I've heard people have like negative reactions. They
Yeah.
not like panic. They have like almost like nightmares, like in while they're under, and they like scream and stuff.
Again, things that we should not be given to 12-year-olds.
But I think a Novocaine shot, that as a child, that's my ultimate nightmare. I remember like they stick that, and it hurts so much. Oh, the worst. Hated cavities. I hated. I didn't even like going to the dentist. I was like, they're going to give me a Novocaine shot.
Did I tell you recently I went and I actually had a cavity, which was devastating to me because I'm on this great run. They were like, I think we can get it without the Novocaine. I was like, oh, no. And she's like, no, I think you're going to be okay. I was like, I have a very low pain tolerance for teeth pain.
So did you have it?
I didn't. And I survived. I was panicking the whole time, though.
When you hear this, like this
The
drill and smoke is coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh,
The worst. Anywho, what'd you say? Whippets? 855-212-4227. Again, not an endorsement. Bogusch has headlines for us.
Guys, is there a hotter team in the NBA right now than the 76ers?
Maxey driving, top of the key area, 5 to shoot. He's still got it between the rings, between the legs, driving to the line, down the lane, up and good. Maxey, too good. Put him on the All-Star team.
Tom McGinnis campaigning on Sixers radio. Maxey scored 30 for his 12th straight game with at least 25 points. His Sixers fought off the Kings 117-104. For a 4-game win streak. The T-Wolves have also won 4 in a row after a 121-113 final in Phoenix, 33 points from Anthony Edwards. And the Raptors have now reeled off 5 straight.
so therefore they are hotter than the Sixers.
I don't know. They're still the Raptors, and they beat the Wizards last night, 106-82. Washington has now lost 15 straight. The Toronto win streak, by the way, their longest since April of 2021.
Don't let the Fighting Dinos get hot. Go RJ.
Far from all of that is Commissioner Adam Silver wondering about a fundamental change to the game while hanging out with Dan Patrick yesterday.
I am a fan of 4 10-minute quarters. I'm not sure that many others are. I mean, putting aside what it means for records and things like that, I think that a 2-hour format for a game is more consistent with sort of modern television habits.
As the commissioner pointed out in that interview, the rest of the world and college play 40-minute games. NBA games currently average 2 hours and 16 minutes. The league has played 48-minute games for its entire existence.
I say do it, and do it now. Follow baseball's lead. Shorten these. You can't shorten the season. Shorten the games. It'd pick the intensity up so much.
This is a terrible idea. And Adam Silver is no longer fit to be NBA commissioner. What is this?
People don't like him already. Now, to be fair, I listened to this interview, and DP put the whole 6-minute clip out on their social media. The question that Dan asked was a brilliant one because he's so good at this. What are some of the off-the-wall or more, I forgot exactly how he phrased it. Like, what are some of the crazier things that have come across your desk that you've even talked about or considered? So he wasn't saying, this is what I want to do. He was answering, in essence, a hypothetical. So let's be fair to Adam Silver about this. He didn't say it's imminent. Dan asked, what's some of the crazier things? And he also did say, we've already made a lot of changes to the NBA. To be fair, we've added play-in tournament. We added midseason tournament. We've done a lot of things. So it didn't seem like they were in a rush to make any changes.
No, and even in this clip, he said, I like this. I don't know if anybody else does, but I'm okay with it. That's like double hypothetical.
Well, that's when Dan followed up and goes, well, if you like it, aren't you kind of the one guy who you're really the only person who needs to like it? Now, a couple of things.
But what's the downside of this? I can't believe anybody's against it.
I guess advertisers, like you don't get as many commercial breaks.
No, I mean for fans. Like, why is it?
So I'm gonna pay $500 for a Knick game. I'm gonna get 8 minutes less of basketball. That makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna keep playing the cable packages. They're gonna give me the same exact amount of money. Now, you're probably gonna increase the prices, and I'm gonna get less basketball. NBA League Pass probably gonna spike up my subscription next year, I'm going to get less basketball. Make this make sense.
Well, what if we could guarantee you, I don't know how you can guarantee, but what if we can guarantee you that, yes, it's going to be less basketball, but you're going to have fewer blowouts, you're going to have better games because guys' legs are going to be fresher, it's not going to be such a burden to play back-to-backs anymore, and that by taking off those 8 minutes is actually going to make Zion play more games.
It's not about the amount of minutes in a game. It's except for the Knicks, apparently. It's only the amount of games in the season. Like, we keep telling you, shorten the season, shorten the season, shorten the season. That's all we want. Why would...
But that's less basketball.
Game
Yeah, you just said you don't want less basketball. Then you're saying shorten the season. How can the two things coexist?
No, because that's an entire... You're not messing with the entirety of an actual game. You're talking about the totality of a season. I'm saying that I'm going to be watching... I'm going to go to a basketball game that's a certain price.
Yeah.
That doesn't change if it's 64 games or 82.
Wait, but EJ, it's going to be more expensive if you have fewer games, by the way, because you're going to have to make the owners whole. If you go from 82 games to 76 or whatever they want to do,
that's why
everything's going to be more expensive.
That's why they're never going to do it, but this is silly. And also, he's talking about the 2-hour thing. You know what will help? Start the games on time. How many times do we have a game start at 7 o'clock or 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and it's 15 minutes after the game? I turn on ESPN for a game that starts at 7:30. I got to watch Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins yelling at each other about some nonsense for 10 minutes before we even get to the game starting. Like, there's so many ways to get to that 2-hour moment that doesn't involve cutting 2 minutes out of a quarter.
Well, but they're not counting that time in game time.
No, he's saying the TV product being 2 hours.
Right, but the game itself is still on average 2:16. That's not including Kendrick Perkins yelling pregame. So whether you start at 7:30 or 7:38, it's still going to go 2 hours and 16 minutes. Which is
but
more
EJ's
than
saying
2 hours.
He's tuning in at 7 because the game time says 7, but they don't actually get things going until after the second commercial
break. And he's
break.
talking about just making the TV product shorter. That makes the TV product shorter. Fans, no fan has ever asked about, this game is too long, I want it to end soon.
Oh my God, no, you're so wrong, dude. Flip onto an ESPN game and it's like, it's the scrubs at the beginning of the second quarter, and it's unwatchable. Like, the backups, like, games are way too long. They spin out of control. They're so boring.
I'll also say this, sitting through men's college basketball games, they ain't 2 hours either. At 40 minutes. So I don't even know what you guarantee yourself by cutting down to 40 minutes, because men's basketball games are not fast.
You're right about that.
And I've never left a game going, that game felt short. So I don't know that I would miss the 8 minutes, but I also don't know that taking off the 8 minutes would actually affect the length of the game.
I think everyone is taking a cue. Let's put this up as a poll. Do you want a 40-minute NBA game? The other thing is, he said it would mess with the records. I don't think of basketball as a real record sport.
No, but like averages though. Like,
okay,
a guy averaging 35 points in that changes everything.
But like, as far as the historical comps, like, I just feel like when LeBron James was passing Kareem for the all-time points, like, the NBA made that a big deal. LeBron made it a big deal. I don't think fans were didn't care as much as the NBA did. I'm talking about the historic.
I totally disagree with that.
Comparing each other to times past, because every era is so different.
I felt like that week when LeBron was going to pass, that thing was the biggest thing we were talking about. That wasn't football. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that, but I do think it's a sport that we grade on averages. Like, that's the whole. We don't even count totals. Like, even to your point, like, we compare how good a guy is based on how many points he's averaging, rebounds, assists. Like, that's how we judge how a good player is. So now I'm going to have to say, okay, what's LeBron's per 48? Because now we got to compare it to when Jordan was playing longer games.
I know, but I think that you're having a nuanced basketball conversation. I think most people, and this is, I think, a problem of the sport that we've talked about before, it's actually just down to rings. I don't even know if people are looking rings, MVPs. I don't even know, EJ, if people are looking that deep into the stats. Maybe we are, but sitting around at on a bar stool, I don't know if people are doing that.
But also,
people aren't like, gosh, Charles Barkley was averaging 30.2 points in his MVP season as opposed to Karl Malone, who was averaging 31.2,
EJ, there's less baseball now, right? And that's better, isn't it? They got that overtime rule.
No, it's not less. Well, I guess technically it's the extra innings.
Yeah, the extra innings. But generally, too, it's just like they kind of cut down the baseball games and improve the product.
Bogusch, would you like there to be 7-inning baseball games?
No, I actually think that this is the best argument for not going down from 48, because I disagree with Maggie that I think this would affect conversations. It would affect history. So no, I would not want a 7-inning baseball game. I ended up not hating 7-inning doubleheaders as much as I thought I was going to, but a regular game can't be 7 innings.
Well, aren't the rules already affecting? I mean, if we're really getting into it.
Well, I mean,
every rule affects the era that came before it.
Of course,
it's getting rid of hand checking, whether it's getting adding a 3-point line, and if you want to go way back, having the fact that now you have a 3-batter rule in baseball. And the bigger stolen bases. Robert Acuna is stealing 73 bases in a season. Like the record books to me is the least of the reasons to not make a change.
But we did this last year with Ohtani, trying to understand the value of 50 stolen bases with his 50 home runs because of all of those changes. So like these conversations will happen. And 8 less minutes. I don't know how many less minutes main guys would play in a 40-minute game.
Like, they'd play more minutes.
Well, I'm looking right now. Tyrese Maxey averages 38 minutes a game. That leads the NBA. He wouldn't still play 38 of 40, but like, would he play 36 instead of like? I don't know exactly how much time guys are losing on the floor, but it would have to I can't imagine it wouldn't affect averages. It wouldn't, like, there's just less time to get stats. And that to me is significant.
Or more time for the starters.
Well,
or the starters play more games.
I think we also disagree. Some of us disagree. Like, does basketball need a radical change? Are they in danger of becoming baseball where they're irrelevant? I mean, there's a lot of reporting on ratings being down, but then some people argue, well, maybe the way the ratings game has changed, people consume it differently.
That's their big argument, right?
What's that?
That's their big argument, right?
Yeah, but I think the buzz is definitely down. I mean, and I think it's load management is the biggest reason to me. Like, the season feels too long, but that is a legit question. I think that's why that conversation with Dan and Adam Silver felt so relevant, is because, like, wow, NBA doesn't feel like it's popping right now.
But again, going back to just one quick point, and I want to be clear. I think people do complain about the games being too long, but again, I think that there's too many replays. The commercials are there are a lot of things that go beyond just actual basketball game. I don't think people are saying the time in the actual games are long, but I just feel like I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like this is a conversation about something that is not an issue. Like, we want guys to play more in terms of like being available. We want the sport to be a lot more physical, a lot less everyone just playing the same brand of basketball. I don't know how taking 2 minutes off of a quarter does any of that. Like, to me, the reason why I'm upset about it is because I just feel like if this is where Adam Silver's head is, like, what are you actually doing to fix the sport? Like, what do you, like I agree with Perloff. Like, there are things that need to be changed. This seems silly, and I know it was a silly idea.
It was a what comes across your desk. I mean, to say he's not fit to be commissioner. 855-212-4227. I think taking it a bit far. We have so much left to do. We've got more Super Bowl for you, including a big question about the Chiefs. Winning close games, a sign of weakness or a sign of strength? 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie, great. Andrew Perloff. A couple of questions out there for you regarding the Super Bowl. One, are you excited to watch this Super Bowl rematch? Early returns are people would rather be huffing laughing gas than be watching the Eagles and the Chiefs again.
Yeah. Do people still get hammered at Super Bowl parties? I feel like that's like a bygone era thing.
I think it probably depends on the person and the party.
Yeah. I remember back in the day, Super Bowl parties seemed like they were a little wilder now. But
maybe
no.
that was just where you were in your life.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Like, you guys are young. Are you going to go to a Super Bowl party?
I will never go to a Super Bowl party. I hate them.
I work the next day, so no.
Yeah, like we're all working. This is why I think the NFL wants to try to get the Super Bowl on President's Weekend so that the country has, like, a lot of people have that Monday off. We don't around here, but a lot of people do. So
a Super Bowl party where you get nachos and a bunch of six-packs, that's still a thing?
I think so.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you get invited to some, Manny?
Oh, yeah. No, I've been invited to some, but I mean, mostly I am working during the Super Bowl and or right after the Super Bowl. So what a great career decision I made.
Well, a lot of people would kill for it. I think it's hard in a Super Bowl party because we actually have to really watch the game.
Yeah.
And Super Bowl party brings in a lot of people who are there for the commercials or
Taylor,
a lot of side conversations
Everybody
going on.
shut up. I need to listen to KB and Tom Brady.
Yeah, right. I mean, we're analyzing now Tom Brady and how the call is. Like, we gotta really pay attention to this.
I know. Do we have to analyze Tom Brady? I know it's going to be like one of the big subplots of the game.
Yes, I have a major bet riding on this.
Is there any chance that we're not going to be critical of Tom Brady? Tom Brady keeps setting himself up for these awful assignments. I keep saying that. It's like, I'm going to call the Super Bowl and have everyone scrutinize me. Then I'm going to try and turn the Raiders into a winner. What's next? Like, are you going to cure cancer, Tom? Like, can you just do something that's achievable, please?
I mean, dude wants a challenge.
Apparently so.
You know? I mean, think about it. He's already rich beyond belief. He can get any woman he wants. Like, what are the mountains left to climb and conquer? You got to take over the Raiders.
Yeah. I don't know.
To
It's just
feel
like,
alive.
could you take a team in an easier division, Tom? That's all I'm saying.
I don't think the Chiefs need a new architect.
There's got to be someone in the AFC South or the NFC South who could need some help from Tom Brady. Like, you had to go in the AFC West?
Maximum. Sorry. I think, and athletes are so delusional. I think Tom believes, I bet he probably believes he's good at anything if he just works hard enough at it.
Definitely.
Why wouldn't he think that? Let's go to Sean, who's in Oregon. Hey, Sean, what's up?
Hey, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things you guys were talking about. Well, one, you guys were talking about, where those close games make you stronger or shows weakness. That doesn't make you stronger. It makes you mentally stronger. It makes you better prepared for those close situations. And it helps you build confidence, which is half the game. So those guys they're ready for any kind of close fight, and that's scary. I didn't like this team. I call them the Miracle Chiefs game team. That several games this year they have no business winning a few of those games, and somehow they pulled them out. So I'm going with the Eagles. I like defense. I'm a defensive-minded person, and so I like the running game. There's more running plays in the NFL this year since 2009. And the running game came back, and so we're glad to see that. And then I wanted to touch on the basketball you guys were talking about. The NBA is at an all-time low right now. I mean, I watch games all the time, and I'm watching attendance. Attendance is way down. Some of these arenas are only half full or less even sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's terrible to see. And what it is, it's the quality of the basketball. Defense has taken a back seat in the NBA. You can see it in the All-Star game, and you can see it in the games.
Yeah, but Sean, I think that might be by design. I think they wanted, first of all, there was a revolution that happened with Steph Curry and the three-point shot, which is, more transition baskets. You're not playing a lot of that, grind it out, slow down possession basketball, which I think we watched a lot of in the 90s and stuff like that. And I think they wanted more scoring, right?
Well, we don't want to see it. I don't watch that kind of basketball.
Yeah.
I watch basketball to see freak athleticism. I like block shots. I like slam dunks. I like transition ball. I don't watch women's basketball. I only have so much time. So I'm not going to sit there and watch guys.
It's good product,
I'm not
Sean.
watching people play horse.
But here's the thing about the attendance. Sean, you bring up a good point. We'll have to double check that. I wasn't sure that NBA attendance had been down, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if the league actually cares about that. And here's why. The owners do, because they are responsible. They get the gate and the parking and all that stuff. But sports are a TV product now more than anything. Look at what just happened with the NBA. Their TV rights were up. Their broadcast rights were up. And people were wondering, like, wow, the NBA feels like it's kind of down right now. Are they going to be able to surpass? It was 3 times what they were making before. They sold a chunk to NBC, a chunk to Amazon. ESPN still has their package. TNT has for another year at least the package. They made so much more money off of this current deal than they had in the last deal. So on an air quotes down product, they tripled the revenue from TV.
Also, last season, NBA set all-time records in total attendance, average attendance, percentage capacity, and sellouts.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I had not heard what Sean heard, that attendance was down. Maybe he's thinking anecdotally.
People might not show up.
Yeah, you're probably watching Trailblazers games, maybe the Pelicans too.
Yeah, but I also get the sense of there are some nerves in the NBA front office about, they just did these big deals and ratings are going down. I think cord cutting is obviously a big part of this. Sure. I don't get the sense that NBA is loving the TV ratings. That is,
they just cashed in. What?
Yeah,
who cares?
I don't know.
They already got the money. It's guaranteed.
Because you know how business relationship is. Like, they don't they don't want to get all this money from Amazon. And then Amazon's like, hey, look what NFL did, and why are you a dud? That's not what Adam Silver wants to hear. I would imagine. Like just because you did the deal doesn't mean that you're not hungry to keep the product popular and high quality. And like they don't want ratings to dip, even though the deal is done.
Yeah, no, they don't want the ratings to dip. But again,
the
contracts are signed, man.
But look at baseball, man. They've been making so much money, and the product's been going downhill, and they panic.
We have a question for you about the Super Bowl. The question is, who is the best player not named Patrick Mahomes playing in this game?
You're in a 5-minute break.
The Arena Bowl, the big final game, inside the mall where legends stake their claim. The teams were stacked with workers galore, from Foot Locker, Hot Topic, and the Apple Store. The Spencer's Gifts crew were high as the sky, throwing Hail Marys just to see if they'd fly. The food court was roaring, the steaks were supreme, the smell of victory and pretzels filled the scene. In the mall under the neon glow, where touchdowns are scored and pretzels flow, the winning play came with a twist so sweet, caught in a Cinnabon, it couldn't be beat. The quarterback worked at Sunglass Hut, throwing lasers through kiosks, slick as a cut. Wide receiver from Jamba, running so fast, dodged the mannequins and left defenders aghast. Peter Schwartz, the commish, was proud of his league, calling plays in the booth with passion and intrigue. But where was Peter Bellotti supposed to run the board? Once again, no-showed, a ghost ignored. In the mall under the neon glow, where touchdowns are scored and pretzels flow, the winning play came with a twist so sweet, caught in a Cinnabon, it couldn't be beat. Peter Schwartz, the commish, was proud of his league. Night vibes, hitting up the show. Maggie and Perloff dropping takes that glow. In the chat, Stunner Filmo runs the scene, spitting fire so hot it makes the snow seem mean. Down in Louisiana, Uncle Sam's lit. Rare snow on the ground, but he don't give a shit. Snow in the South, man, what the fuck's this? While Belotti's ghosting work, he's always dismissed. Stunner Filmo dropping shit like whoa. Uncle Sam's buzz, snow on the flow. Daily says time to bust the plow now, while Belotti's at home chillin' somehow. Filmo spittin' truth, he's the chat's big hitter. Drunkle Sam slippin' whiskey in his glitter. Maggie's crushing staff, Perloff's got the flow, and Belotti, he's like, work? Hell no. Daly's cracking jokes, where's that one plow? Louisiana snow, it's rare as Pete somehow. Stunner's calling out, Sam's laughing out loud. Belotti's excuses, bury them in a snowbound cloud. Stunner Filmo dropping shit like whoa. Truckle Sam's buzz, snow on the flow. Daly says time to bust the plow now, while Belotti's at home chillin' somehow. Filmo in the chat, Sam's sloshing his drink. Daly's plowing snow, making Pete rethink. Snow in Louisiana, Belotti on the run, both are rare as hell, like Perloff having fun. The chat stays lit, Filmo's throwing flames. Daly's got the plow, Belotti skips games. Maggie and Perloff hold it down so tight, while Pete's at home sleeping through the night. Drunk, but Sam's laughing, snow falling slow. Daly's on the grind with that plow in tow. Filmo's running things in the YouTube show, while Belotti stays MIA status quo. Time to bust the plow, Daly screams in the chat. Louisiana snow ain't built for that. So here's to Filmo, Sam and Daly too. Maggie and Perloff, they'll carry the crew. But Bellotti, man, fuck that guy. A no-show forever, just wave him goodbye. Filmo, Sam and Daly too. Maggie and Perloff, they'll carry the crew. But Bellotti, man, fuck that guy. A no-show forever, just wave him goodbye.
Not sure why people aren't a little more excited for this rematch. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. You guys have spoken. Don't really want to see Chiefs-Eagles 2.0. Which I don't get, Pearl, because this was an epic game that happened just 2 years ago. Same coach, same quarterback on both sides. That's very rare that we get that kind of rematch. It's only happened 4 times in the history of the NFL. And where you get quarterback rematches, coach rematches, same. It's really like this has all the makings. It was a 3-point game. It was Mahomes overcoming an injury. It was Jalen Hurts' arrival really on the scene. There was fun stuff that happened in this game, yet everyone seems to have a collective yawn.
Well, because America would rather see the Tennessee Titans than the Kansas City Chiefs in here. Like, you are paying attention to the fact that everybody is sick and tired of the Chiefs. That's one. 2, nobody likes the Eagles. Why would you like the Eagles if you're not from Philly?
Okay, but here's the thing. The Eagles at least have a shot at revenge and a shot to stop the dynasty. So if you're a Chiefs hater, then you have to go to the Eagles by definition. And then the other part is, don't we just want to guard against a blowout? Like that, a Super Bowl blowout is the worst. You go through this whole season, you invest all this time, and then the game's 42-0 at halftime. You don't want that.
Well, if I was a neutral fan, not an Eagles fan, I would definitely want to see the Lions, and I would definitely want to see the Bills or the Ravens. I mean, it would by a mile. I'd want to see Josh Allen. I want to see a guy trying to get his first. Or try and break a drought.
Jalen Hurts is trying to get his first.
Well, yes, that's true.
I mean,
but Jalen Hurts is not
here, guys.
But Lamar Jackson's a 2-time MVP, probably about to be a 3-time MVP. The pressure, there's no pressure on Jalen Hurts. There's big time pressure. Like I would want to see Lamar, Josh Allen either step up or melt under pressure. That I don't know. The stakes would feel higher. Detroit with that high octane offense would have been very interesting. Those matchups would have been. I would have had a little more jump in my step for those matchups if I was a neutral fan. I mean, you telling me as a football fan, you wouldn't want to see the Lions play the Ravens? That would number 1 and number 2 offense. That would be different and interesting. This feels like we've been here before.
Okay, but we were here in the first time around. It was awesome. Like if it had been the first time around and the score was like the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl and the score was 13-3 or whatever, I would get it. You don't want to watch that again. It wasn't fun. This was 38-35 with a game-winning field goal at the end to win it for the Chiefs. Like, your Eagles played really well in this game. There was fun punt returns. There was controversial calls. It had it all. And I disagree with you that Jalen Hurts has nothing to lose here. There's no one in their right mind that wants to be known as a 2-time Super Bowl loser.
Jalen Hurts does. I mean, in the sense of like, that's a lot better. At least he's gotten the Super Bowl. Josh Allen's never gotten the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson's been to, one conference title game? Like, I don't know. It puts Jalen Hurts, just to get here, puts him in a totally different category. Jalen Hurts never thought of as an elite quarterback like that. So for him, I think it's a different calculus. Nobody wants to, like, you don't want to be Jim Kelly and lose 4 in a row, but Jalen Hurts would probably take that. I mean, is Jalen Hurts considered one of the premier quarterbacks in the NFL consistently? No.
I don't know. I'd be a little worried about Hurts's legacy, if you will, if he loses another Super Bowl, because this is a guy who got replaced in the national championship game, right? And the team went on to win when he got replaced by Tua. Had stuck around, which was admirable, then had to transfer to Oklahoma. He's been a Heisman runner-up, or maybe he came in third. I think he was runner-up. He might have been runner-up 2 years. Can we double-check that? Jalen Hurts, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And then to be a 2-time Super Bowl loser in a city like Philadelphia, I don't wish that upon anybody. You always say that the weird thing about Philly, unlike any other fan base in the NFL, is you guys always loathe the starting quarterback.
Trust me, Jalen could win this game 42-7, and they would want him out of town in about 6 weeks because that's how Philly is. Win or lose, they're not going to like the quarterback. But, yeah, I mean.
What a weird place to be.
I mean, Carson Wentz was amazing in the Super Bowl year, and he got driven out of town very quickly afterwards. So, anyway, I don't think Hurts had 2,900 passing yards in 15 games this year. Like, nobody thinks that this is about Jalen Hurts. Nobody does.
Well, I mean, it's about the quarterback generally for every other team. So I don't know why it wouldn't be about him. And, it's funny you say that, like, Jalen Hurts would have no problem being a 2-time Super Bowl loser. And I think that why you're saying that is, like, he has kind of overachieved for his career.
To get to 2 Super Bowls, right. When Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, the number 2 and number 3 quarterbacks in the entire NFL, have not gotten to a Super Bowl, it's pretty incredible to get to 2.
No, I get it. But I've talked with a lot of athletes, and I feel like, I don't know if it's universal, but there are so many of them that have said, I'd rather not even play in the game than play and lose. There are a lot of guys who it's so devastating, and it was for your Eagles because they started the next year off 10-1, but it was like somebody's dog had died because there was such a Super Bowl hangover in this negative way that they don't even want to play in the game if they're going to lose. The idea of the confetti falling for somebody else is so devastating. I don't know why Jalen Hurts would be different. You think Russell Wilson loved losing a Super Bowl just because he was a third-round pick?
Yeah, Russ got one, though.
I'm just saying, like, even if
I'm not saying everyone enjoys losing a Super Bowl, but I don't think, like, it's, we discuss legacies coming into a game like this. To me, this is not really a Jalen Hurts legacy game. Like everyone's,
they're all legacy games. What I mean, aren't all Super Bowls in a way legacy?
Games? Isn't Josh Allen's legacy like a different kind of thing, or Lamar Jackson's legacy? Like those are important because we're talking about all-time quarterbacks. I don't think anyone's confusing Jalen Hurts for a Hall of Fame quarterback right now, unless he gets 2 rings. Like his numbers are modest.
He's got an opportunity right now. EJ, you said what? Jalen Hurts was a
one-time runner-up for the Heisman at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Never at Alabama. So
okay. One-time runner-up.
They never threw at Alabama, right? Like what? How many touchdowns did he even throw at Alabama?
1 year, obviously, he got benched. So
855-212-4227. We are also going to answer the question, besides Patrick Mahomes, who's the second best player on either team playing in this game? But first, Ty in Boise. What's up, Ty?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
We're great, man. How are you?
I'm good. So I just want to disagree with Perloff. I think there's massive pressure on Jalen Hurts. I mean, do you want to be the only quarterback to lose 2 out of 3 and the only three-peat that's ever been, like, done in history? Like, I don't want that on my name. I think this is a huge legacy game for Jalen Hurts.
I think if the Eagles had their way, Jalen Hurts would throw for 130 yards and they'd win this game. Like they do not want they don't want this coming down to Jalen Hurts' right arm at all.
Okay,
right?
But see the stat line, you're missing the point. He's like the answer to the trivia question is kind of what Ty is saying.
Yeah.
Like who was the losing quarterback when the Chiefs completed a historic three-peat? You don't want the answer to that question to be Jalen yourself.
It feels, I don't know, a little. I feel like it'll get lost. No one's going to think about Jalen Hurts in this three-peat. Like he's a passenger on this team. There's no doubt about it. He had a great game in the NFC title game, but generally, like he has not been a huge part of this. He had 128 yards against the Rams, 131 yards in the win against the Packers. He's had some good games for sure, but they want to run the football. This is all about Saquon.
Yeah, but
this is a Saquon team.
He's a running quarterback, so he's part of that running game plan, which is how you actually beat the Commanders so easily.
Well, he was great against. No, he was perfect against the Commanders, but I don't think like the Eagles definitely don't want to see a lot of Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. Right, that's the formula.
I don't know if you got to do a shootout. I think Jalen Hurts can be in a shootout. You've got A.J. Brown, you've got Devontae Smith, you've got more renowned wide receivers than the Chiefs do beyond Kelsey as a tight end. Who catches
but what do you want as a team? Like, well, you know, when Nick Sirianni and Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore are getting together, what's their ideal game plan? Jalen Hurts throws it 12 times. I think, right? Like that's been their formula this year. Cut down the throws.
855-212-4227. I don't think Jalen Hurts would be like an anonymous. This is not like Chris Chandler or like one of those guys that went to the Super Bowl and lost, and I don't think a lot of people think about them very much.
Yeah, but I don't think this is like a mano-a-mano battle. It's not Terry Bradshaw versus Roger Staubach. Like, everyone knows that Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes aren't same.
That's just got me thinking, who's the most anonymous quarterback to play in a Super Bowl? Because I don't even think you can say Trent Dilfer because he's remembered as the guy who nobody really thinks about because the Ravens defense was so good.
Whoever those patsies were for the Patriots who got destroyed by the 85 Bears. Those guys were.
Tony Eason and the Patriots.
Yeah. Tony Eason.
How about the Patriots
Jake
team?
Delhomme?
The Patriots team that lost to Favre. That team.
Oh, with
that was a Patriots,
that was Bledsoe, though, right?
It was Bledsoe. And
Yeah,
Parcells.
that team really didn't belong there. Also, the team, the Neil O'Donnell Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
And the Stan Humphries Chargers. Like, there's a whole list of them.
Stan Humphries. Wasn't Chris Chandler the quarterback of the Falcons?
No, you got it right. You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
Though? I was playing. It's just a weird, funny story back here. I was playing audio. So we said Chandler. I was very afraid you said Tyson Chandler.
No.
Man, he was like, no, you did not. So I was like, okay, good.
You want a 7-foot quarterback?
Former Nick.
What about Kerry Collins?
High draft pick, at least. Yeah, that was a forgettable Super Bowl appearance by the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Rex Grossman.
Rex Grossman.
Rex Grossman is almost famous for being bad. Yeah. Like Rex Grossman is like, Trent Dilfer is the bad quarterback. It's a quote unquote bad quarterback who won the Super Bowl. Rex Grossman is the one who did not belong. That team never as a team used special teams more to get to a Super Bowl than that Bears team. By the way, the Eagles are 29th in the league in passing this year. I mean, they do not want to put that ball up in the air.
Man, no wonder A.J. Brown's reading a book.
Yeah, no, they want A.J. Brown on the sideline complaining about not getting targets and reading a self-help book. That's exactly by design. And you know what's so kind of funny? I think that's what the Chiefs want, too. They don't want Mahomes. This is the Mahomes legacy game. They're like, well, let's hope that there's a ton of Pacheco and Kareem Hunt.
Brad Johnson? Okay, so from forgettable quarterbacks, now let's talk about the unforgettable guys. You can let us know, do you think Jalen Hurts has anything on the line in the Super Bowl at 855-212-4227? I think yes. Perloff says no. Besides Mahomes.
Yes. This answers your question. This answers the previous question.
Okay.
Who is the second best player in this game?
Who is the second best player in this game? Because I think we would all agree that Mahomes is the best.
Would anyone in America say Jalen Hurts is the second best player in this game? That's my point.
But
and
he's not the 15th worst.
I don't
it's
think
not Brad Johnson.
Is
it's
he
not Trent Dilfer. No way. He's not
No, he's
for
a
the
good
ride.
player. He's a good player, but I don't think he's top 10.
He's top 5 paid.
Salary wise. I mean, I think he's between 5 and 10, that's where he is. Because I think it's very clear who's the second best player in this game. There's only one right answer.
Go ahead.
Saquon Barkley. Sorry, Manny. It's clearly this is Mahomes versus Saquon. If I was going to do a graphic of this game, I would do Mahomes on one side, maybe a little Kelsey in the corner, and I would do Saquon big on the right side and maybe a little Jalen Hurts in the corner. This is a Saquon versus Mahomes game. This is how this game will be defined and we're remembered.
So Saquon is definitely a huge part of this. I don't think he's the second best player on the field, though.
Okay.
To me, the second best player on the field, if we're talking about what they're good at versus everyone else at their position, Chris Jones is the second best player on the field. I think that him as D tackle and his ability to close out games, he does this. From the tackle position, he does this, closes out games. And you're talking about having someone on the side. To be honest, the person who does their job better than like anybody is actually Harrison Butker. If we're really going, he is automatic in the postseason.
Isn't he having a little bit of an iffy year?
He's been hurt.
Yeah, I feel like I love that take, but Harrison Butker, I think, might be an opportunity for the Eagles because he's been shaky a little bit.
I didn't want to bring this up. We're talking about who is the second best player on the field after Mahomes. We have not talked about your kicker, Jake Elliott from the Eagles.
Right. But wait, one thing. If you're he's terrible.
Doo-doo this year.
Yeah, but the Eagles know that and are going to go for it on fourth down in those situations, which actually might be an advantage in the long run because you can't kick field goals and beat the Chiefs. One thing, if you're talking about best at their job and compared to other positions and you bring up Harrison Butker and Chris Jones, then you got to bring up Lane Johnson on the Eagles.
Lane Johnson is awesome.
The right tackle of the Eagles is better than anybody at anything. So and also I don't know that Chris Jones is the best defensive tackle in this game.
Oh, Jalen Carter?
Yeah.
I give the slight edge to Chris Jones. And a lot of it may be experience in these big games where Jalen Carter, I know, was a national champion at Georgia, but has not played in a Super Bowl. He was not on the team, obviously, 2 years ago.
That's true, but he is a force of nature. So that's why I'm rejecting your Chris Jones just because Jalen Carter's too close to him. That's my only reasoning there.
We're asking who's the second best player on the field in the Super Bowl after Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to get in trouble with the offensive line community again. I've already irked them.
All they do is push each other around, Mags.
I know. Yeah. That one got me in trouble. Anyway, it was said tongue-in-cheek, but left tackle when you're a running and rushing attack.
Yeah.
Right? Like left tackle is not mostly known, but a lot known for blindside, right? Yeah. For protecting the blind side. But if Jalen Hurts is running and Jalen Hurts and they're primarily a running team, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
the interior guys.
No, laying the right tackle, you mean?
Right tackle, pardon me.
Yeah,
right
no, but the Eagles have, you know who the Pro Football Focus's number one lineman in the entire NFL is by a large stretch?
Jordan Mailata.
So, but Mailata and Lane Johnson are killers in the run game.
They do.
They're like moving mountains. Like that's one of their strengths. And they also are great pass blockers.
855-212-4227. So who is the second best player on the field in the Super Bowl? Perloff says Saquon Barkley. I think Chris Jones. EJ Manny, you want to weigh in on this?
Saquon.
Manny, I know you're a conscientious objector to talking about Saquon Barkley because you're still salty as a Giants fan.
The correct answer is
Saquon Barkley.
Wait, let me ask you another question. Can we do in the break an exercise, Maggie? Take a break?
Yeah.
Let's write down, because we considered this last night, let's rank players and see where we get to Jalen Hurts. I'm just curious. And the question is, second best player, I think you bring up an important point relative to their position. Like Chris Jones is a monster in this game. He's the best defensive tackle in the NFL, so you can't go wrong there. I think you could get 10 players before you get to Jalen Hurts.
855-212-4227. All right, we'll do a little of that. In the break, we'll get the results to you on the other side. We're also asking if the Chiefs winning close games, they've won 17 one-score games, 17 consecutive one-score games. Is that a sign of strength or a sign of weakness? 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Medical exam. Just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. So there's a exercise in the break, which is not easy. We are debating who's the second best player in the Super Bowl behind Patrick Mahomes. I went with Saquon. Maggie went with Chris Jones. Makes sense. But I am curious via an exercise, where does Jalen Hurts fall? How many players can you name before you put Jalen Hurts, the opposing quarterback? And I got him at number 9, Maggie. What do you got him?
I have an 8.
Okay. Who do you got? I want to hear your list, see if it matches up.
Okay. Mine goes Mahomes, Chris Jones.
Oh, okay.
Mahomes is 1.
I thought it was... Okay, I thought it's second best player. You're right. Mahomes
so
is 1.
So 1 is Mahomes.
So I have him at 10 now.
Okay. Mahomes, Chris Jones,
right.
Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter. You talked me into Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata.
Okay.
Trent McDuffie,
I'm
and
at
then
11.
Hurts.
I'm at 11.
I did not put Harrison Butker there, even though I think that the Chiefs kicker is so good at what he does normally. But yeah, so I have him Mahomes, Jones, Barkley, Jalen Carter, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Trent McDuffie, and then Jalen Hurts.
I mean, I think Butker fell off a little bit this year. I'm hoping at least. How about A.J. Brown?
Is he getting the ball?
Well, is he a better player? I mean, he's sort of a borderline Hall of Fame wide receiver. I would put he's a better player. He just happens to be.
What's your list? Go ahead.
Okay. Because you split up the teams, I got a little confused. I have Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Trent McDuffie. Then on the Eagles, I have Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter. All right, maybe Quinn.
He's a rookie who's never played in a game nearly this magnitude.
He's a god among men, Maggie. Do not dare. First of all, he's super cool. He is playing shutdown corner. Trust me, it took all the might not to type the words. Cooper DeJean in there.
So Hurts is definitely top 10 though, or he's just out of the top 10.
Well, I mean,
for
listen,
you.
like the Eagles were one of the worst passing teams in the league this year. He's not in the top 20 of yards per game. They de-emphasized Jalen Hurts' passing at every step this season. In 2 playoff games, he had less than 140 yards passing. So it's definitely like that's unavoidable. It's not a Jalen Hurts year. Whatever he was 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, we haven't seen that in forever. He said, finally, Sirianni took the shackles off me.
Yeah, the straitjacket, he said.
So just the fact that the team has tried to de-emphasize his passing, to me, says they don't trust his passing. So that's why I think even 10 might be generous.
What do you guys think?
I had him at 11 if we include Mahomes. I did not have Quinyon Mitchell like Perloff did, but I did have Zach Bond ahead of him.
Zach Bond is
my
having
God.
a
12 for
heck
me.
of a year.
Forgot about Zach Bond. Of course I forgot about Zach Bond.
Dude's amazing. Man, did you do this too?
Yeah, I've got Hurts at, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th.
Bogusch, did you want to partake?
I did not make a Jalen Hurts specific list, but
what's your vibe on this?
10 or 12 better players seems like too much to me. I can't put Quinyon Mitchell ahead of him.
Okay, that one, I got everyone. He's, by the way, very, very good. He's playing great. I mean, we could have mentioned Joe Tooney moving over left tackle and playing awesome. I don't think he's let up a pressure in the entire playoffs. We could have talked about Trey Smith, their Pro Bowl right guard. We could have talked about a bunch of Eagles. Like, there are a lot of good players in this game. Those linebackers for the Chiefs don't get a lot of attention. They're amazing.
Yeah, again, and I ask, people are not excited about this rematch.
Because I think we've seen it, but we're talking about a lot of defensive and offensive linemen and stuff. No one cares about the guards.
Okay,
Maggie.
but here's the thing. So I saw Mad Dog Russo with this take, so not to have a take on a take, but Mad Dog gets a lot of attention. Yeah. And he was saying that he didn't like this matchup because there's not enough Hall of Famers on the field to his liking. I just don't see where you get that out of. Like, where do you get that? Mahomes, Chris Jones, Saquon Barkley still has a chance. Jalen Carter on a Hall of Fame track. Johnson
no. Jalen Carter is in his
third
too
year.
young to say on a Hall of Fame track, but go ahead.
Lane Johnson's walking.
Jalen Carter's second year, right?
Yeah, second year. Lane Johnson's walking into the Hall of Fame. Jordan Mailata's on a Hall of Fame track. Trent McDuffie's is already a 2-time All-Pro, first-team All-Pro. Andy Reid is going to the Hall of Fame.
No, he's not. I actually looked this up. He's one-time second-team All-Pro, one-time first-team All-Pro.
Okay,
But you're saying Jordan Mailata's on a Hall of Fame track? That's rich.
Didn't you just tell me that he's PFF's highest graded person, walking the earth?
I just think that
and Travis Kelce is a walk-in Hall of Famer. There's tons of Hall of Famers in this game.
Jordan Mailata is 27 years old and hasn't been to a Pro Bowl yet. He's not making the Hall of Fame.
Just wait, man.
You need 10 Pro Bowls to make a Hall of Fame. He's made none.
Stopping the Chiefs three-peat certainly would go a long way for these guys. And you're telling me there's nothing on the line for the Eagles. That's just absolute BS. There absolutely is. Look at Bogusch and Manny's New York Giants teams that stopped Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. You think Eli Manning's getting into the Hall of Fame without that win? No chance, even with the last name. No chance. He had to do something historic. He had to upset Tom Brady. They had to upset the perfect season. And that was the thing. And those guys on the defensive line are going to get in too. Well, Strahan's already in, but you know what I mean.
I said this yesterday. The funny thing about the Chiefs are, to me, much closer to the Patriots, who had this shining star at quarterback. Then they just rotate pieces around them, and therefore not as many Hall of Famers, where the great Cowboys and Steelers were Hall of Fame at every position. That was pre-salary cap era. But... Yeah. For the amount of success the Patriots had, they did not have a lot of Hall of Famers. That was what was remarkable about them to me.
Okay, but how many are going to end up getting in? Richard Seymour got in.
3.
Willie McGinnis, is he going to get in? Teddy Bruschi, is he going to get in?
Teddy Bruschi's a Hall of Famer?
Teddy Bruschi's definitely not. I think Willie McGinnis advances in voting every year, but I don't know how close he's actually gotten to getting in.
What about, there is a Hall of Fame case for Julian Edelman, guys.
I mean, Edelman's not. He's polarized. He never made a Pro Bowl.
I don't think he's going to get, there's a case.
Yeah, but not a lot.
The only reason why there's a case is because they won these Super Bowls. That's what I'm saying. There's so much on the line in this game. You're trying to tell me that there's not. There is.
I'm not, okay, I hear what you're saying, but generally, I do not think that the Chiefs in particular are a Hall of Fame laden team. I think they're pretty remarkable that, they let Tyreek Hill will make the Hall of Fame, but they let him go, and they
Tyreek
still
Hill
win.
was the other one.
They still win.
How about this trifecta of Kelsey, Mahomes, Andy Reid, and probably Brett Veach? Their GM will probably make the Hall of Fame.
Brett Veach is going to make the Hall. Do GMs make Hall of Fame?
Yes, Bill Polian's in the Hall of Fame.
I don't know. Look at the 70 Steelers had literally their entire defensive line, both their receivers, their quarterback, their running back, their whole back four. Like, that was Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer. This is not that.
This is a different league, though. In
the
sense
salary
that
cap.
It's not, the salary, right. So, I just think, the modern Super Bowl teams we're talking about, I don't know if those teams have 8 Hall of Famers like that Steelers team did.
But
right?
you remember,
they weren't paying Terry Bradshaw $250 million and then trying to figure out the rest for everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, would you agree with me one thing about this?
What's
New England Patriots dynasty, they were not overloaded with talent. They had a lot of late round picks. What happened was they got them in the building and everybody played the system. And I think they maximized the talent of those players. It was not like Tom Brady had Hall of Famers around him everywhere. He did not have a lot of great targets throughout his time
I
there.
thought that Junior Seau was a great player. I thought that Rodney Harrison was a great player. I thought Corey Dillon was a great player. I thought that, you're going to make me go back to the dynasty. I already said McGinnis. I already said Vrabel.
You're talking about some guys they picked off the garbage heap. Corey Dillon, come on. They saved his career. I just don't think, it's funny. I think you should agree with me.
What about
on
Randy
that.
Moss?
Did 1 year, how many Super Bowls did he win?
Well, but it took an all-time upset.
All right. I feel like you're arguing for arguing's sake because it's a narrative of the Patriots that they brought in a lot of guys. They all figured out a way to win around Tom Brady. It was like Tom Brady. And I think Mahomes has a little bit of that. He makes everyone around him better.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not like there's no Hall of Famers who aren't going to be associated with this Chiefs dynasty. That's just not true.
But there are other Super Bowl champions who have, you compare the number of rings to Hall of Famers. There are other Super Bowl champions that have a lot more Hall of Famers. I think EJ brought up a good point. Back in the day, all the Packers are in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. All the Steelers, all the Cowboys.
There's a lot of Bucks in the Hall of Fame from that one Super Bowl. That defensive line, a lot of those guys are in.
Who? Brooks, Sapp.
Is Simeon Rice in?
I don't know if he's in, but John Lynch is in, right?
Simeon Rice has 200 sacks. He's actually going to be closer than you think. Who is it?
Is John Lynch in?
Lynch, I think, just got in, I believe.
And Rondé's in.
Rondé's in. Yeah, that defense.
Rondé Barber.
I don't know if they had any offensive players, though. Mike Allstott, one of my favorites. He should get some consideration.
Mike Allstott.
We also talked about Brad
amazing.
Johnson as a more anonymous quarterback who won a Super Bowl. Not anonymous, but doesn't get the fanfare. Bogusch has headlines. All right, so we got a lot here for you. Who's the second best player in this game besides Patrick Mahomes? Is there anything at stake for Jalen Hurts in this game? And all these close wins for the Chiefs, a sign of weakness or a sign of strength? Bogusch, what else is happening today?
Well, guys, for obvious reasons, the NFL has more security questions than usual to answer ahead of the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Kathy Lanier is the league's chief security officer. She said yesterday they have increased all safety procedures around the city and the game. An estimated 100,000 people will be in town for Chiefs Eagles, and they will see a more visible law enforcement presence throughout the city. The staff of new Jets head coach Aaron Glenn's taking shape. Former Niners D coordinator Steve Wilks expected to take that same job in Jersey, and Glenn appears to want to bring the Lions offense with him to this new job. Detroit passing game coordinator Tanner Engstrand is the assumed favorite for offensive coordinator. Lions tight ends coach Steve Hayden will coach the Jets O-line, and former Lions backup QB David Blau might be the Jets QB coach. He was the Commanders' assistant QB coach this season. Patrick Graham, meanwhile, is now expected to return as Raiders defensive coordinator. There was a coaching change in Vegas, and Graham's contract expired. He interviewed twice to be the Jaguars head coach, then once to be their DC after Liam Cohen was hired. Now he'll work for Pete Carroll after working under Antonio Pierce and Josh McDaniels. The man, the myth, the legend,
Sean Gilgeous Alexander
did it again last night.
Guarded by Anderson on a switch, 10 to shoot. Shea steps back, fires, 20-foot jumper straight away. Money. Gilgeous-Alexander's got 45, and OKC's down 3, 98-95.
That's Matt Pinto, Thunder Radio. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander finished with 52, 2 off the career high he scored last week. But this time, he and the Thunder did not win 116-109 at the Warriors.
Sean Gilgeous-Alexander.
Kristaps Porzingis got 34 points and 11 boards on the Bulls in the Celtics 122-100 win. The Clippers outscored the Spurs 128-116. 27 from Kawhi, and the Nets snapped their 7-game skid 104-83 in Charlotte. Men's number 1 Auburn left LSU with an 87-74 win. Johnny Broome posting 26 points and 16 rebounds. 4th-ranked Alabama had a tougher time winning at number 14 Mississippi State.
Mark in the corner, Nelson for 3. Bottom! Oh, mercy! Grant Nelson, a huge 3 on the assist from Mark Christopher Sears.
Full name on Learfield. The Grant Nelson tie-breaking 3 came with 2.5 minutes to go. The Tide surviving 88-84. Nelson scored 15. Mark Sears had 17 with 9 assists. Hockey last night. The Canucks got their 3rd straight win, 3-1 in Nashville. The Panthers blanked the Kings 3-0, and checking on WNBA free agency, veteran guard Courtney Vandersloot expected to return to the Chicago Sky after winning the title with the Liberty this past season. Guys, back to you.
I saw this headline from Catherine Terrell, who covers the Saints, the team that still has yet to hire a head coach, even though basically the Senior Bowl is like, is it over? You might have wanted someone there, but anyway, Mike Kafka interviewed with the Saints for 9 hours.
9 hours.
Oof.
Nothing should last 9 hours.
He's kind of supposed to be pretty boring too, right? Isn't that
No,
Mike
apparently he's very good in the room. That was the follow-up either from her or somebody else, that this is that he just like commands these interviews.
I've always thought Mike
can't
Kafka
call an
was like
offense.
a good coach, but kind of a boring guy. I thought that was his rap.
I'm from interviewing for jobs.
Yeah, I think it was, but for OC jobs, though, right?
That's right. He wanted to be Seattle's OC, and they said
Right.
no lateral moves. That's what it was.
Right.
Is there anything you want to last 9 hours?
I can think of one thing.
It's like a Sting joke, or
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't even really though. 9 hours.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, watching the Knicks play for 9 hours. Absolutely, I would love to watch that.
9-hour game.
Mm-hmm. Take that, Adam Silver.
Yeah, imagine the takes on Thibodeau and overusing the players if he had to coach a 9-hour
Josh
game.
Hart played 8 hours and 45 minutes. What the hell's going on?
Everyone's just like skeletons by the end.
What about 4-hour quarters? How would that work?
Yeah. The bizarro Adam Silver wants 10-minute quarters. Can we interest you in 2.5 hour quarters?
I would do a 9-hour spa.
9-hour spa day.
Definitely.
I think you'd get sick of it. How much? What are you doing?
That's 9 hours.
Back
is a
in the
long
sauna,
time.
and then you're in the cold plunge, and then
Cucumbers
you're
on your eyes.
Yeah, eucalyptus leaves. You'd get sick of it,
I mean, I stayed at a spa for 2 days. I can do a 9-hour stay.
right? But you like went to sleep.
Yeah, I know.
Presumably,
But if I didn't have
took
to.
a walk.
Yeah, no, if I
Sleeping
didn't.
for 9 hours seems comfortable.
When's the last time you got 9 hours of sleep?
It only happens on the weekend. It never on the weeknight.
Yeah, not with this shift. No complaints though.
I found that out quickly.
Welcome aboard, Manny.
Yo, Manny told me that he only has one alarm that wakes him up. That just because I told him today that I went to my 3rd alarm today.
Oh wow.
That scares the crap out of me. Manny's been showing up every day, and he is only one alarm that gets him here.
What do you mean, like one physical alarm? Like I do it on my iPhone. I set like 3 alarms,
Yes,
like
exactly.
2 minutes apart. Okay, so not like having 2 physical
No,
alarms.
like actually 3 times where your alarm goes off in case like the first one you sleep through it. Manny only has one.
I thought you meant in case the phone died or something like that, which has
Yeah.
happened to people.
Happened to me.
I have 2 physical alarms. My phone, and I have a real old school alarm clock across the room. That's like
Nice.
the worst case scenario. That one never goes off, knock on wood, but that's there as the last savior.
So you
getting
wake
here.
up and walk over and turn it off?
It's on my way out of the room, yeah.
I have the same thing because I talked to Bogusch before we took the shift, and he's like, I
Yeah.
have another alarm on the other side of the room, so I put one in my bathroom.
Yes, and it's like a foghorn, so like
Yes.
everyone will wake up if that one.
I will wake up the
goes
neighbors.
off.
Now
Yeah.
I have to get one of those. I did not know. I wish you guys had told me.
They cost like $15. It's not even a big deal. Yes, you should definitely, Manny. That's like doing like the high wire without a net.
Well, you see, here's the thing. Once upon a time when I was a freshman in college, I kind of set one of these alarms and just kind of went back to sleep.
Yeah.
You see, here's the issue. It was finals week.
Ooh.
So that whenever I hear that sound now, I get like, not to make a joke out of it, but I get PTSD off of that sound, and I immediately just spring up and I'm like, all right, let's not miss the final. Just kidding. I'm 27 years old. I have to go to work.
But that's exactly why you want it.
What final did you miss? What class?
It wasn't a journalism class, so that's okay. Probably like math or something. Maybe that's why I can't add, 2 numbers that are bigger than 15.
It wasn't objectivity either in your Knicks gear, head to toe.
That's a big word.
Thanks.
Wow.
1 alarm for me, 3:45. Up. Vámonos.
You're a superhero.
No.
Perloff, we got to get you a second alarm.
I want like one of those old school white little plastic ones. Is that what you got? With black hands, like we had in college.
Mine's gray, and actually I think it could play a CD if I asked nicely.
What the hell is a CD?
Exactly.
It's in a museum. 855-212-4227. Lots more to do, including this one we do not see eye to eye on. Certain somebody has decided to not accept an invitation to a certain high-profile sporting event. I'll tell you what that is next. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Andrew Bogusch loves his turtle, call it chill shot bliss. He feeds it kale and lettuce, then gives it a little kiss. Andrew Bogusch's turtles got a mansion in the tank with a slide, a tiny hammock, and a treasure chest bank. Two-tone Tony rolls in, his turtles got swag. Cruising slow but steady, repping that reptile flag. Meanwhile, Kevin Lamel's got tacos on his plate. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he's got no time to wait. Turtle love, taco dreams, Andrew living supreme. Two-ton Tony, slow and steady crew. Kevin's got breakfast tacos, what's Peter gonna do? Yo, Perloff's turtles chillin', basking in the heat. Bogusch's turtles flexing, got gold chains on its feet. Tony's turtles on TikTok, racking up views, while Kevin's tacos sizzle, serving up the news. But Belotti's MIA, not a damn thing new. Work? Nah, he'd rather just hit snooze. We're out here hustling, making turtles the stars, and Pete's just ghosting like he's hanging on Mars. Turtle love, taco dreams, Andrew living supreme. Two-ton Tony, slow and steady crew. Kevin's got breakfast tacos, what's Peter gonna do? Yo, Perloff's turtle spotlight, tacos taking the stage, while Belotti's excuses keep showing his age. Perloff's turtles name LeBron, Bogusch calls his taco just for the show. Tony's turtles trending, breaking the mold. Kevin's got a taco so spicy it's gold. And Pete, yeah, fuck that guy, still a no-show. The legend of Belotti always laying low. Turtle love, taco dreams, Andrew living supreme. Two-ton Tony, slow and steady crew. Kevin's got breakfast tacos, what's Peter gonna do? So here's to Turtles tacos and the crew on the grind. Except for Belotti, who's always lagging behind. Perloff, Bogusch, Tony, Kevin, y'all are the best. But Peter Belotti, man, he's failed the test.
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Hyundai. Hyundai helps protect you and your family on the road. We put your safety first and everything else second. All right, welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. We had some news yesterday that I actually didn't know was coming, but it sparked a lot of debate. Caitlin Clark made a decision. Explain, Maggie.
Yeah, so Caitlin Clark was invited to participate in the three-point competition for the NBA All-Star Game. NBA. So you remember that Sabrina Ionescu of the Liberty did this last year. She took on Steph Curry one-on-one, and it was super exciting. I think she lost by like 3 baskets or something, but it was really close, and it was a really fun time. So they invited Caitlin Clark to do it this year. I don't know against who. Maybe Curry, maybe someone else.
Right.
And she declined.
It wasn't going to be in the overall three-point shooting contest. It was going to be like a special challenge, right?
Yep, they did a separate one, just like last year, where they had a regular, your regular three-point competition, and then they did a special one between Curry and Ionescu. They were going to do the same thing here, but with Caitlin. Caitlin's like the most prolific three-point shooter in the history of the sport.
Yep.
This is such a great idea. And to me, I think it's a missed opportunity for Caitlin. Now, what she said is that she wants her first three-point competition to be when the Fever hosts the WNBA All-Star Game in July.
Right.
And I'm not sure why you can't do both. And by the way, we're talking a lot about the Chiefs and the Eagles, and this is a rematch that no one wants to see, but usually we do like rematches. And let's say that Caitlin takes on Steph Curry, like Sabrina did last year, and say it's an epic, say she wins by a basket, loses by a basket, something like that. You get the rematch in July, and you bring back Steph Curry, and he does it at your All-Star game. Like, I just don't
That'd be fun.
Right. Like, I just don't see the downside. She's not going to lose one fan if she loses a three-point shootout.
Well,
it doesn't work that way.
I get it from our standpoint. It'd be awesome. Yeah, like I think we want to see it. But if I'm Caitlin Clark's manager, I say, no way. What does she have to gain from this? She's already the most popular athlete probably in America. She's already number one. Like, what is she? What possible advantage she would Steph Curry, she'd probably lose. Like, what does she get out of that?
Okay, well, was Michael Jordan already popular when he did the dunk competition?
Yes, and now everybody else, nobody, like LeBron won't do it. Nobody does it because they have nothing to gain. That was a different time and a different place.
But see, that's a mistake. And haven't we said that the slam dunk competition in many ways has suffered because LeBron hasn't done it?
Yeah,
and so,
I hate it, but I get it.
So why can't we fix one? Why can't we right or wrong here? I'm not trying to put more pressure on Caitlin. My just thing is, what do you have to lose? You're asking, what do you have to gain?
Nothing.
Well, keeping yourself in the spotlight.
Done.
Growing the sport more.
That's not her job.
Well, okay, but it kind of is every player's job. It was LeBron's job to help grow the NBA.
She's done enough. She's good. Why would you risk your own personal standing here? Like, nothing good. What if she totally had an off night and was terrible? That would kill the Caitlin Clark myth.
What?
What if she went What if she went 3 for 30? Everyone would be like, "Oh, why were we so excited about Caitlin Clark?"
We would forget about it, and we would still be excited about her playing her season. See, here's the thing: this is not, in my opinion, this is not Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs.
No, of course not.
It wasn't when Sabrina played Steph Curry. It wasn't labeled, as this battle of the sexes, and that Sabrina had to keep it close against Steph or else like women everywhere fail. It was fun. And I think that Sabrina got a lot out of it for sure. It overshadowed the regular 3-point competition. I don't even remember who won that.
Right, but Caitlin's such a big...
Jason Tatum? I don't even remember who won that.
Yeah, but Caitlin's such a bigger star than Sabrina.
Okay, but
It's
again...
like night and day.
But it's like, do you always want to be looking at things as what do I have to gain or what do I have to lose? You know? Like, she has nothing to lose to me, and she gets this fun experience that are going to have a lot of eyeballs. And she doesn't lose one fan, even if she goes out there and lays an egg. No one says, oh, gosh, Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve to be playing professional basketball.
Well, you got to remember, though, Caitlin Clark has a lot of male fans, too. And you say that, forget, like, the women's sport and all that. Like, I do think, like, if she went out there, and I don't think she would, but say she really was off, she didn't get a chance to warm up the right way or something, and she was 3 for 30 or something like crazy. Yeah, I think that would be a problem for the Caitlin Clark brand.
But that's just for the men who are like cavemen, who would just be like, well, she can't beat a guy in a three-point competition. Like, who cares?
It's not about, it's like we all think she's this incredible shooter. To be the biggest stage she was shooting on to fail, like, I think that would be a downside. Like, honestly, like, if I'm... Yeah, I think, like, there's nothing but it's not about men versus women. It's just like we think Caitlin Clark is a baller. For her to go out there and struggle would be like, oh, okay, maybe she's not that great.
Okay, well, here's the thing. She didn't say she's never competing in any of these competitions. She said she's just waiting until the WNBA All-Star Game to do three-point competition. It could happen in the WNBA All-Star Game. If you go cold, you go cold. It's not a longer distance. You know, like, they're going to be shooting from the same distance. It's going to be all the same. You know,
but this is a little more high profile. Going against Steph Curry.
But it's kind of anything she does, I think, is high profile. Like her sitting next to Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game is high profile.
I think you could hide a little bit more of the WNBA All-Star Game. I don't even know. Is it in the middle of the season?
It's in July. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a safer environment. This again, you're right. Of course we want to see it, but it's very much like LeBron James in the dunk contest. Like, what does he have to gain? The reality is he had nothing to gain from it. He's doing just fine. Got his son into the NBA. He did not, let's face it, he did not need the dunk contest.
But, okay, are we only going off of what you need? Because here's the flip side. No one ever thought, hey, LeBron could get in the dunk contest and do an amazing dunk, and we all have fun.
Yeah, but what is...
Like, that's it. It's not that serious. He's not going to... Here's the thing. It's not like someone's going to all of a sudden come out of the stands and block the shot. Like, it's just...
That'd be awesome.
I don't know. I don't know. These guys are so sensitive.
Michael Jordan lost some dunk contests too. Like
right. But this is like Zion and LeBron probably are doing just fine. Like they have images to protect. Like I don't think there's upside for those guys.
Man, Zion could use a little image boost.
And Zion will probably get hurt on the second dunk, so he's not going to do it. I mean, Zion's the one. I've read a lot about them trying to get Zion to do it because he's so spectacular, but. I don't know. I don't think he should because of the injury risk. If you were Caitlin Clark's manager, you could make a compelling case where like don't do it.
But like if you're Caitlin Clark though, don't you gotta say bump the manager? Like this is what I want to do. I want to compete. I want to have fun. I want to kick Steph Curry's behind. Like what? I hate and you're making great points, Pro. But I just hate the corporateness of like today's athlete. It's just like
it's like we have a brand to protect. Yeah. It's like you're on the cover of Time magazine. The brand's strong.
Right, you'll be fine. Like
the brand's gonna be strong one way or the other, right? I mean, it's just gonna be strong if she doesn't do it. Listen, Caitlin Clark is at the top of the sports heap right now. Like not doing this is gonna keep her there. Like doing it, I think there's a downside. If she was bad, you guys, I don't think of realizing if she was really bad, what impact that would have. It'd have a little
Caitlin Clark
impact.
has never met a shot she doesn't like. Do you think she really thinks she's going to do poorly
like
here? She'll be even better.
I don't know.
Did you see her birthday was recently? I think it was like last week or something. And on her birthday, they put out a video where she hit 50 of 54 three-pointers. Dude, she's in like her... I don't even know if she's in her prime. It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think she needs this. Her, I think it'd be fun. But also, too, even the Sabrina Ionescu thing, it had an exhibition feel to it.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
It's an exhibition.
Yeah.
Sabrina didn't come out in Game 7 and start jacking up shots. It's a fun all-star thing.
I don't think LeBron would have been great in the dunk contest either because tall guys have problems in the dunk contest. It doesn't look cool. When you're 6'9", it's kind of hard.
How tall is Blake Griffin?
Well, Blake Griffin had to jump over a damn Kia. I'm just saying, like.
To be fair, sedan.
Like,
not SUV.
Yeah, I'm just not sure LeBron's dunking style necessarily would have played. I think that's why he stayed out of it.
Probably could have broke the backboard. 855-212-4227. Okay, should Caitlin Clark do the NBA three-point contest? And coming up, more Super Bowl chit-chat.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're not in the mood, we'll get in the mood. It's actually going to be a much better Super Bowl than I think anyone is anticipating. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. I feel like I'm getting a lot of negativity here. Oh, it's not the matchup that we wanted to see. Oh, everyone wanted the Lions and the Ravens and new blood and all this. Guys, forest through the trees. The Chiefs and the Eagles gave us an all-time Super Bowl just 2 years ago. The Eagles are better than that team 2 years ago. This was a fun game.
Wait, what?
And the Chiefs are going for history, and the Eagles could block history. Like, don't tell me there's nothing on the line. You know, Patriots-Rams, there was nothing on the line. And that game was terrible. We've seen blowouts that have been really bad. This is, to me, has the makings of a really great game. I don't understand why it seems like the public doesn't want it.
Well, they're tired of the Chiefs. It has nothing to do with the Eagles, but the Eagles are definitely not a better. Maybe they're just as good. That other team was loaded 2 years ago. They were a higher performing team, I think. But the last Super Bowl, you're saying it's a great game. Like, I'm looking at like top 10 Super Bowl lists, and nobody puts that game up there.
You're going to leave it to the list makers, Pearl? Come on.
Yeah, it's just like you're right. It was 38-35. It should have been an all-timer, but I just don't think it like made Super Bowl lore. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe because the Chiefs had already done it had already won their ring. The Eagles had already won their ring. Something about the freshness just wasn't there.
Okay, but think about this time around. If you want to say who needs it in terms of rings and on the line, well, can I present history on both sides? You know, Chiefs wanting to go for the three-peat. We all know about that. And the Eagles, Philadelphia, the city that loves to annoy everybody. And they could be the ones who stop the Chiefs dynasty. Do you understand how much Eagle fans just as a whole would dine out on that forever? I mean, you beat Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. You thought that was good. This would be twice as good.
No, the Eagles don't care about that. They care about the Cowboys. They're focused on that. They don't even care who they're beating. I'm actually looking at this list of NFL.com, Maggie, the greatest Super Bowls of all time. That game, according to this list, that didn't even make the list.
Which one?
The
2 years ago.
2 years ago, right. Because now after much research, I figured it was written in 2021. And I was like, why is this game not on the list?
I told you, Prof, you can't leave it to the list makers, okay?
Yeah, well, no, the list was accurate. It was just happened to be written before that game. So that is my bad. But no,
Way to do your own research.
It just doesn't feel epic. Like the matchup, like the Eagles have a lot of rivals, teams they hate. They kind of like it's Andy Reid. The Kelceys have Jason Kelce is still part of the Eagles team, goes to practice all the time, kind of rooting for Travis. It just doesn't have the juice as far as the rivalry goes. I don't know why. I mean, everybody should hate the Eagles and everyone's sick of the Chiefs, but I don't know. Something's missing. There's a certain je ne sais quoi.
Well, we asked you this question on X. Are you excited for this Chiefs-Eagles rematch? And 74% of you are saying no. I mean, guys, I think we have to be a little like beggars can't be choosers here, you know? It's not a script. Like these are actually the two teams that do deserve to be there. The Lions had an all-time great year, but they got hurt and they lost at home to a rookie quarterback. You know, the Chiefs got the home field advantage throughout, took out the Bills. They deserve to be here, and they're on the brink of history. Now, here's another question we had for you about the Chiefs. It's very obvious what the formula has become, which is winning close games and being the better team and the smarter team and all of that at the end of these games. 17 consecutive one-score games that they have been on the right side of. Are the Chiefs winning close games a sign of strength or a sign of weakness? 77% of you on the poll say it's a sign of strength. And I'm with the majority here. I know, Pearl, you don't see it this way, but I think it's a sign of physical and mental toughness that you are able to play your best when it matters the most. And let's also not forget, the Super Bowl history of the Chiefs is that they are more likely to be trailing in this game at some point and have to overcome some kind of 10-point deficit, which happened against the 49ers, happened against your Eagles. They were down in overtime last year against the 49ers again, and they prevail. It's like all-time mythical stuff.
No, I totally agree. Like a 10-point lead is nothing against that team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, though, I saw interviews with Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes, and they both said something to the effect of, like, we don't want to win close games. We want to blow out the other team. I think there's also metrics to say Super Bowl teams blow out opponents. Like, that is, you actually can look at that plus minus as an indicator of who's going to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, the best team usually blows out teams. Eventually, don't you feel, Maggie, that a ball's not going to bounce the right way, a fumble's not going to go the way they want it to go? Believe it or not, a call will go against them. I feel like eventually, if you keep playing with fire, you're going to get burned, because I saw the same exact thing happen to the New England Patriots. They're like, we can win any close game. We can win any close game. And then some dude catches a ball off his helmet and they lose a close game.
Okay, but how many close games did they win?
Well, yeah, but again, they lost three close Super Bowls. So eventually, they won how many? They won most, but they didn't win them all.
They won 6 close ones and lost 3. Anyone would take that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but the Chiefs are on a 17-0 pace. That's the point. Like, eventually, you can't keep this up. You just can't.
Okay, but wouldn't you have said that at 5-0, 7-0, 10-0, 15-0? Now they're 17-0 in consecutive one-score games. Like, if you're they're due theory.
That's my theory.
Like, why didn't it kick in already?
Well, it's because you never know what their due theory is. I mean, you never know when the Washington Generals are going to get hot one night and knock off the Globetrotters. No, it happened because I saw it with the Patriots. Like, they had won a ton of close playoff games. The Tuck rule, the final drive against the Rams in the first Super Bowl, Donovan McNabb throwing up, holding off the mighty Jake Delhomme and the Panthers, and then they looked like the easiest one they ever had. They were 16-0. Nobody would have ever thought the Patriots would lose a close game to the Giants, and it happened. So it didn't make any sense at the time. Then the Giants did it again. I think a close game. I would take a close game here because I think the Chiefs are probably a little bit of a better team. So I want it to be close. I'm worried that the Eagles are not going to be able to necessarily hang with the Chiefs, because I saw the Chiefs come out and kind of kick the Bills' butt in the first half.
Yep.
They look great. They did fall apart a little bit. So I'm hoping the Chiefs do that, where even if they get a lead, they let the Eagles back in. Because the Eagles are good at close games too.
I know. See, I think everyone's looking at this whole thing all wrong here. Like that, no one's got anything to play for on the Eagles side of things. Like, guys, not true. Not true. You do not want to be the 2-time loser. And I'm not even going back to the Donovan McNabb Super Bowl or anything or before that. I'm talking about Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni brand. You don't want to be the 2-time loser. You don't want to be roadkill from the Kansas City Chiefs on the way to them being maybe the most dominant franchise of all time. I mean,
but roadkill would imply you got blown out like the Broncos did in the 80s. Like roadkill, you lost a 3-point game 2 years ago. You're probably going to lose a 3-point game this year. That doesn't feel like roadkill to me.
We just talked about the Patriots. How are they remembered? Dominant dynasty. 5 out of the 6 Super Bowls they won were all one score.
Right.
The only one that they won by more than one score is when they beat the Rams 13-3.
But
nobody is going back and clearly no one's going back and saying you didn't win by enough.
But
the Patriots are remembered as being dominant, just like the Chiefs.
But I don't think you think of their opponents as roadkill. I mean, I actually think I'm like, whoa, the Panthers really gave them a battle. I mean, nobody's like, oh, the Panthers got run. Remember that game? I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe the Panthers are hanging in this game.
Yeah, and I bet if we asked, 100 football fans, self-proclaimed football fans, who was the quarterback for the Panthers in that Super Bowl, how many people would get it right? Like they're just, it's the victor writes the history, right? The winners write the history. And the Patriots are remembered as being dominant, even though basically Adam Vinatieri had to save their bacon, multiple times.
But the Patriots, I think, fit my side of this argument much better. Like they were the team that always won close games until they didn't. Do you know it's funny about the Broncos got blown out at every Super Bowl? They became a punchline. The Simpsons, early on in The Simpsons, they had a joke where Homer gets one wish from a billionaire. He says, I want to own an NFL team. He wakes up the next morning, the Denver Broncos are in the front yard. He goes, that's who I got as the Denver Broncos? Because everyone made fun of them because they lost every Super Bowl 55-10. That doesn't happen anymore. The Eagles, if they lose, are going to lose by 6 points. I don't think there's any shame in that. No one picked them to be here. Did any expert say the Eagles are going to be in the Super Bowl?
Man,
None.
you are already making excuses.
I'm not
for
making
the
excuses. Like, they're facing a dynasty. They're facing Patrick Mahomes. Could you honestly imagine feeling bad about losing this game?
Yes. I'd feel terrible because, to your point, you're thinking the Chiefs are due for a loss.
No,
you just told me that.
But they're favored. I will feel bad if they lose in dramatic fashion, which will probably happen. But if they just get outplayed, it would not be a devastating loss. Like the Phillies lost a couple of years ago. They were heavy favorites over the Diamondbacks. That's devastating.
Yeah.
I think it's all about expectations. I hate to say it. I think your Bills loss was a bit devastating because all the experts picked the Bills.
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah.
I'm still digging myself out of this grief hole that I'm in.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it.
Last year's loss for the Bills to the Chiefs, last season's, was not as devastating because not many people thought they were going to knock them off that year.
Speak for yourself. 855-212-4227. They're all devastating.
No, I don't think so. I think there's levels of devastation. I mean,
not at this level. Not this far into the season.
Manny and EJ are Knicks fans. They know about this. Like, is every season you've lost for the last 40 years as devastating as other seasons, or are there some where you just don't care?
I do agree with Maggie in the sense that once you get that far, it's going to be devastating regardless. Like, the Jets were very much heavy underdogs against the Colts the first time they went to the AFC Championship game with Rex. But going up in that game and then losing was still devastating. It didn't matter that they were 6-point underdogs, whoever they were.
There are certain teams, Chiefs are definitely one of them, Bills are one of them, Eagles are one of them, where the season doesn't even really start until the divisional round. Let's be honest. They've earned that. The Ravens, these are the teams of the now, right? That's the Lions loss. Totally devastating. At home.
Much more devastating.
Divisional round.
They're the number one seed. Losing as the number one seed is a much tougher experience than losing as the number 7 seed. The Broncos and the Chargers loss was nowhere near as devastating as the Lions.
Okay, but you are now the 2 seed.
No, this should be tough.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You are lucky enough to be rooting for a team right now where the season starts the divisional round.
Yeah.
That's the expectation. So how could you not be disappointed if you lose? Like,
of course you're disappointed, but it's not going to be like ripping your guts out because the Eagles won in 2017. They're, again, very disappointing, but it's not going to be. Trust me, like Philly celebrated their NFC title game win like they had won the whole thing.
I noticed that.
Because it felt like an accomplishment. I know maybe this is a loser mentality, but it did feel like an accomplishment because I don't think a lot of people thought this team was poised to go that far. Last year was brutal. So I don't know. I think there's some satisfaction, and I feel like there's a little house money here. I really do. And
I think you're trying to talk yourself into being this big underdog. You're a 1.5 point underdog. I mean, this is not. We've watched Super Bowls in our lifetime where teams were 14-point underdogs.
Come on, if I told you in August that all of a sudden a rookie out of Toledo named Quinyon Mitchell and a second-round quarterback named Cooper DeJean were all of a sudden going to be these 2 shutdown guys, you'd be like, what are you talking about?
No, Perloff, you don't get to do that. I'm sorry. The Eagles are too good to play underdog in this game. You were just here and you just lost to this team by 3 points.
So you disagree that this was not a surprising run by the Eagles? They were 2-2, and you wanted to fire Nick Sirianni, and you convinced me to fire Nick Sirianni. They were going to fire their coach after a month. This is a surprising run.
Yeah, I don't know. I seem to remember the Phillies draft getting Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and everyone gave him an A+. EJ, can we put that poll question up? Do you consider the Eagles massive underdogs?
Not massive underdogs, but they're underdogs.
Well, you can't just put underdog. Technically, they're a 1.5 underdog. It's very small. That is very small.
By the way, they got an A+ for the draft. In the history of the NFL, you've never had 2 shutdown corner rookies. Like, this is not. You can't tell me anyone expected that, Maggie. Even if you get an A for the draft, these guys are so far ahead of where they should be as rookies.
I don't know. I feel like you're trying to let them off the hook. 855-212-4227. I did notice that the fans were celebrating the NFC Championship game like a little too hard, you know? let alone like some sad stories that have come out of people getting hurt. But I'm just saying the way that everyone flooded onto Broad Street, it almost did feel like the NFC Championship game was your Super Bowl. 855-212-4227. Now, Rex is calling from San Diego. Rex, I'm seeing here that you have a story for us.
Yeah, it's kind of a cute little story I thought I'd share because I know you're a big Bills fan. And I worked for the San Diego Chargers for 10 seasons. And one of the, we dealt with traveling fan groups from all the teams that were coming into San Diego. And the year that Flutie and Rob Johnson were being debated who was going to be the quarterback for the Bills, and the Bills let go of Flutie, well, Bills fans loved Doug Flutie. So there was a huge contingent of Bills fans that came out to San Diego for that game. And when I was out in kind of the courtyard area of the stadium, I recall seeing one of the Bills fans walking around, and he's wearing a T-shirt that said, "I'd rather have a little Flutie than a big Johnson." And I thought that was the greatest T-shirt from all the fans that came in and all the ones that I dealt with over the years. That's the one I remember. I thought that was so clever, So, yeah, just thought I'd share that with you.
Rex, and dynamite story, perfectly delivered.
Okay, and I was also there the year the Packers and the Broncos played, and the Packers fans were so confident that the Packers were going to win. And I kind of look at this Super Bowl in similar fashion. Nobody's really giving the Eagles a chance. This might be the biggest upset Super Bowl, is my opinion.
Rex, we love it. Calling the shot. This could be the Eagles' chance. Thank you for the call. Very cute story. I'd rather have a little Flutie than a big Johnson.
Go Chargers, go.
Trying to find the box score. So that was...
Which Super Bowl?
October 28th. No, this is just a random regular season game. October 28th, 2001. Bills in town to play the now Doug Flutie-led San Diego Chargers. Chargers won 27-24.
There you go.
There you go.
I miss having a San Diego sports team.
Yeah.
Padres still exist.
San Diego, by the way, best Super Bowl city. Probably number one.
I've never been to one there.
Yeah, I went as a fan because I thought the Eagles were going to go the year Tampa Bay knocked the Eagles off in Veterans Stadium, Rondé Barber game.
Yep.
It's amazing. It was perfect. They should just do the Super Bowl there and nothing else.
I know. I've been very close to San Diego. Been to like Laguna Niguel area. So
you've never been to San Diego,
I've never been to San Diego, period.
Okay.
I know. What a bad job by me. By the way, this was a shootout. So it was Rob Johnson versus Doug Flutie. Flutie was 21 for 33, 254 yards, 1 touchdown. Rob Johnson, 24 for 37 for 310, a touchdown and interception.
I feel like throwing for like that many yards in that time period is like you got to multiply that. It's like that's like Rob Johnson really threw for like 450 yards in today's NFL.
Wow, 254 yards.
How many yards is Jalen Hurts throwing for these days?
Yeah.
He begged to get to 254. 855-212-4227. Okay, are you excited for the Super Bowl matchup? And do you think that the Eagles are this massive underdog? Let us know what you think.
All right, first, Maggie, we have a lot of sports to look at and study because of Prize Picks. I'm talking golf. I'm talking basketball. I'm talking soccer. You can do it all on Prize Picks. And, of course, you can get involved in the final football game of the season, the Chiefs-Eagles. Prize Picks is the best place to cash in the big game. The app's simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money.
Okay, can I tell you what I'm all about today? Can I give you a little Ja Morant? Got a big game. Grizzlies-Rockets. Ja Morant more than 22.5 points, and I'm going to put that together with Rory McIlroy more than 4.5 birdies opening round Pebble Beach.
What's the win like at Pebble today?
I think calm. 8-5. That's what I'm hoping for. Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available in more than 40 states, including our friends in California and Texas. And join now because Prize Picks is giving away a free pick for the big game where a quarterback will only need to throw for 1 yard for you to win. So how do you get in on this? Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code MMP. You get a $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. That's code MMP on Prize Picks to get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play just $5. Win or lose, you get $50 in bonus credits just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Something I found funny. We'll get back to the Super Bowl matchup in just a moment because we're asking you, are the Chiefs' close wins a sign of strength or a sign of weakness? But I don't know if you guys saw this, and Bogusch is here with us now. There was a response by the University of Michigan to the Connor Stalions investigation. And as they say, the cover-up is always worse than the crime, right? One thing I found funny is that current head coach Sharon Moore was asked, why did he delete 52 text messages between himself and Connor Stalions on the exact same day that the media reported, revealed that Stalions was basically caught. Stalions caught. You delete 53 text messages on the same day. Why would you do that? And Sharon Moore said, well, I look forward to the day that those text messages get revealed. Well, now he's saying he deleted the messages in anger and frustration after the bombshell news story broke because he didn't want Stalions to be, because he disrespected the program. And he was so mad at him and he was so angry that he deleted 52 text messages.
I thought the story in the moment was that the text messages were like embarrassing in a different way. And
I don't
that's
think
why
Sharon Moore said that. He said, I can't wait for them to come out. So.
I remember the story being like, they were like, I don't know if they were, talking about women or like, just they were in a different way embarrassing. So he got rid of them then.
Nope. He's saying now he told school officials he deleted the messages in anger and frustration, suggesting he didn't want one person, Connor Stalions, to receive credit for all the work that coaches and players put into the championship.
Aww.
Just so mad.
So you delete messages?
Get him out of my phone.
Oh, gosh.
Lesson learned.
I don't think that one's going to hold up.
No, I don't think so. But, I mean, in Ann Arbor, they got the championship, so they don't care. They're as happy as they. And they still beat Ohio State, even the year they won that championship.
They're looking like a contender next year, too. Crazy.
They also said that they didn't send people to games like 50 times. It was only 8 times. So they're owning up to a couple of them, but not all of them.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm like, does anyone even care even a little bit about that scandal anymore?
I know one person.
Sharon Moore.
Or two people then.
Who?
Brett Bielema. Because he is still
but I mean, exactly.
Just taking a blowtorch to Jim Harbaugh.
Well, because he thinks that he's one of the teams that kind of got hosed in a close game that they lost in Michigan.
Yeah, but I feel like America moved on because Harbaugh left.
Yeah, but Sharon Moore might get a show cause penalty. It's possible, depending on what they find here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be surprised.
This isn't over yet.
They're not going to come after Sharon Moore, though. Really? I mean, they let Jim Harbaugh go. How are they going to go after him?
Let him go. He left to go to the NFL.
I know, but they let him come back after the suspension and coach. I mean, I feel like this scandal's lost its heat, and they would definitely not kick Sharon Moore out.
I mean, Harbaugh took that suspension kicking and screaming. I mean, there was threats of lawsuits. That was not a like a very kumbaya. Okay, yes, I did a bad thing. I will sit down for 3 games. He was fighting that like tooth and nail.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that Sharon Moore really could be in trouble? Like, I'm surprised because I feel like the way people like college football, everybody, the era of coming down on programs seems like a lost cause. Like, NCAA has no power. Like, what are they really going to do?
Well, I think this is a place where they probably still feel like they have a little power to wield because it's not NIL related or anything like that. It's literally going to a different stadium and scouting and cheating, and it's definitely against the rules. But anyway, that was just a little I thought the response and the excuse was pretty funny. Just so mad at that guy. I deleted every text messages, and that's the only reason why I did it.
I was so mad that at my teacher. That's why I threw out my report card before we had to sign it, Mom.
Bogusch has headlines for us. What's up?
Guys, this morning's update from Washington, D.C. is as bad as possible. Investigators now assume no one survived last night's midair collision near Reagan Airport. There were 64 people on the airplane, 3 on the Army helicopter. U.S. figure skating confirming overnight that several members of its community were on this flight. Young skaters, family members, coaches who were returning from a development camp after the World Championships in Wichita. Russian media says 2 of the coaches on board were from that country and are former world champions. To our normal duties now, Matthew Stafford plans to play next season, but where remains the question. The 36-year-old QB has a $40 million cap charge for next season following a renegotiation a year ago. The Rams could save over $20 million by trading or cutting him after June 1st. Right after their season ended, Sean McVay said they wanted a Stafford resolution as soon as possible.
So that means like redo the deal for less of a cap hit?
Again, I guess, yeah. Because moving on doesn't seem...
He was great at the end of last year.
And there's no one behind him that they would transition to. So if you got rid of him, you'd be immediately stuck in a spot where you don't have a quarterback.
Although I think Aaron Rodgers probably would have loved to swap out Stafford for him.
Yeah, I don't think McVay would love that, though. He's not going to teach a new guy an offense. Yeah, I will tell you right now, I'll do a show bet that Stafford's back there. Those guys, that bromance still has some heat in it.
The Jets are reportedly...
The flame is still burning
and also,
bright.
I'm telling you, if the Rams were on an indoor, if that was a dry field against the Eagles, that could have been a Super Bowl team this year.
The Jets are reportedly hiring Steve Wilks as defensive coordinator, and Patrick Graham now expected to return to the Raiders as DC. Josh McDaniels hired him first, and Graham stuck around with Antonio Pierce. Now he'll work with Pete Carroll. He interviewed for the Jaguars head coaching job, then their D coordinator position earlier this cycle. As I mentioned last hour,
Sean Gilgeous Alexander
scored 52 points last night, but it didn't matter.
Looney sets the screen. Curry comes left. Crossover dribble again. Down the right side. Gets it to Wiggins. He's open. Who fires? And he hits it right in front of the Warrior bench. 3-ball. Right corner pocket for Wiggins. Warriors up 7.
Tim Roy on Warriors Radio. Andrew Wiggins putting the finishing touches on Golden State's 116-109 win over the Thunder. Wiggins scored 27. The Sixers pushed their win streak to 4, 117-104 over the Kings. The Mavs outscored the Pelicans 137-136. Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton combined for 68 points as the Pacers down the Pistons 133-119. And the Cavaliers with a wire-to-wire 126-106 win in Miami. Donovan Mitchell scored 34. And that is everything that happened in the NBA last night.
Come on, man.
It is a 12-game win streak for men's number 1, Auburn, 87-74 at LSU. Number 6, Houston on a 13-game run after handling West Virginia 63-49. Number 17, Wisconsin, losing at Maryland 76-68. Bonus hockey last night in Salt Lake City.
1:10 to go. Drop back to Crosby. He's off the bench. Cuts towards the crease. Backhand shot. He scores! Sidney Crosby, the overtime winner. And the Penguins take down the Utah Hockey Club to wrap up the road trip with a must winner.
That's how it sounded on Penguins radio. Sidney Crosby getting Pittsburgh a 3-2 win, ending their 3-game skid. More importantly, though, from this game, Utah cannot name its team the Yetis because of trademark issues with the cooler and cup company.
Get out of here.
Swears to God. So now they're down to 3 options. They could make Utah Hockey Club permanent. They could go with the Mammoth, which was on the initial list of possibilities. Or here's a brand new one. They could be the Utah Wasatch, like the mountain range in the state. Fans will vote for the winner in arena over their next handful of games.
Wow. What you got there? What cup is that, Mr. Bogusch? What you got your coffee
Here I am.
into?
That's why, and unfortunately, I guess it's my fault. So they came to the Utah Yetis because that was my pick.
They can't make a deal, strike a deal with Yeti?
There have been talks with the NHL as a whole and the team and the company, and for whatever reason, they can't come to a solution.
I'm going to be honest, like, a coffee cup like this is very important for us, especially this shift. Like, we need coffee. It's very important. And you never want your coffee cup to spill. I think Yeti, like, they don't know whether the Utah Hockey Club is going to be good or they going to be bad. Like, Yeti's name is crystal. Like, it's supreme. It is like the coffee cup.
Yeah, I mean, if I was them, I wouldn't let anybody else use it, good or bad.
It's like Sterling. That's what I meant to say. Their reputation is so good. I can't be associated with some kind of hockey club.
Yeah, I don't want any confusion like this. If it says Yeti, it's me. It's not them.
And also, I have my special Yeti.
Oh.
You guys know about this?
What is it?
It's a Father's Day gift. It says, Dad, nutritional facts, like one of those nutritional things. Strength, 150%. Hard work, 200%. Dad jokes, 30%. Unconditional love, infinite.
Oh, that's adorable.
Isn't that quite adorable? Whoa. And it keeps my hot liquids hot and my cold liquids cold.
Woof. I'm going to be honest, a little low on those dad jokes. 30%.
Well, they
low
were
on the dad jokes and high on the strength.
This is not tailor-made to you.
But yeah, analytically speaking, do you want lower or higher dad joke percentage?
Personally, I'd like to go higher.
But doesn't that mean there's too many dad jokes? Don't you want to be on the lower end? Would mean you're not doing dad jokes?
But there's an asterisk next to that one. It said percent of daily values may be higher or lower based on child's mood. So this is science.
Way to go, number one dad.
Yeah. Did I cry when I got this? Yes. Was I psyched about having a Yeti cup? Oh, yeah. Even more so. But they should make it. I see what you're saying, Maggie. Like, Yeti is 100% approval rating.
Love it.
Like, don't risk having a bad hockey team. But I feel like Yeti and hockey would be a good pairing. Like cold cocoa at a hockey game.
It also seems a little unfair to the Utah team because, I mean, they're talking about the animal. They're not talking about the coffee cup. Like, you can't call yourself Tigers, like, because someone, like, Tiger Woods or something like that. I don't know. It seems a little weird.
Also, it's not a real animal, is it?
It's a mythical animal.
Yeah.
The ligers.
They're talking about the animal.
I think technically it's a person,
What
isn't
they're referring
it?
to. Yeah, I saw the markups of the mascot. It was going to be that big white, like, monkey-looking
Monster.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a myth.
No, I'm aware of what a Yeti is.
To EJ's point, it's weird that someone could own that, right? Like the Yeti company could even have a say.
Yeah, can a company start a company named the Gremlins and be like, hey, like no one can call themselves the Gremlins. No Gremlins exists, but
right.
Well, if you had a company called Gremlin, I think that's the thing. Like the thing is the name. It's not the picture of the mythical or not thing. It's the name. Like they control where the word Yeti goes on merchandise.
It's an interesting question, though.
I don't know about Utah Hockey Club. I'm not in love with it.
Like the THC, the hockey club.
I did like the Washington football team.
Me too.
It grew on me.
You didn't like that at first? It was so cool. It's like a soccer team.
Nah.
The
it was-
WTF?
it was too close to WTF.
Well,
which
I think you're in a small minority on that one. Everyone loved WTF, right?
it grew on me as well. I didn't like it initially. I thought it was really dumb at first.
We love that. Yeti. Is there alternate spelling of Yeti? Can they argue that in court?
Well, they were going to be, I think they're going to be plural. I think they're going to be the Utah Yetis. Maybe that was they thought that was the way around it, but they still, like the U.S. Patent Office and Trademark Office, like turned them down. And then they could keep talking with Yeti, the company, and that didn't work either.
What's another brand that
if we could only have one thing, either the Yeti cups or the hockey team.
Cups.
It's the cups.
Yeah. Is there another brand that has 100% approval rating like Yeti that we could...
I mean, Q-tips, probably.
Pampers.
Baby wipes.
Dr. Pepper for me.
Oh, I love the pep.
Yeah, not a fan.
See, you're never going to get 100% approval on anything. Haven't the Chiefs taught you that?
True.
We will find something. Hey, quickly, can I mention something? Perloff was on a podcast yesterday talking about the show.
Oh, God.
All right, spill it. What'd you say about us? We're going to find out anyway.
I was on the Awful Announcing podcast. We love Awful Announcing. It's one of my favorite feeds. The podcast is great. But
it's an honor to be asked.
It's an honor to be asked. They asked you some tough questions about the show. And you know how it is. You guys have been asked questions about the show. Like, you got to be political, right? Like, tell me about Maggie. Do you really want me to tell you about Maggie? Like, what if I came and I was like...
She has mammoth feet.
Yeah. Maggie
unfortunately, everyone knows the
mammoth
sad
feet.
truth.
What if you like, Maggie's great. She looks great on it. She usually mails it in on Tuesdays. Like, what am I going to say? Like, I can't say anything mean about anybody. And then they asked me about Dan Patrick. Like, what kind of boss was Dan Patrick? Like, how on earth do you think I would answer that question?
What'd you say?
I mean, he happened to be a really good boss, but what if he wasn't a good boss?
Why do you think I'm with Maggie now?
Am I going to start a feud with like, they're like, tell me about this person in the media. Like, tell me your real thoughts on Stephen A. Smith. Like, I'm not bringing that heat. Are you insane?
You should. It'd be better for the show if you're like, I think Stephen A. Smith's a hack. This would be great for us.
That's great. Yeah, it's great for me to do that. Like, you go on the Awful Announcing podcast and call some legend of the game a hack. No
I
way.
did go on the Awful Announcing podcast, and they did ask me about legends in the industry.
And how did you answer? Oh, because you got probably asked a lot about Mike Francesa.
Of course.
Did you say politically correct things, or did you say what you really thought?
No comment. No, I said what I had to say.
Oh.
I said what I said.
You didn't play it politically? I would have.
No, of course. Listen, It's just funny. I don't really, I'm just curious what you said about this show. By the way, you're going to start rumors. People are going to start thinking I'm mailing it in on Tuesdays.
Yeah, no.
Oh, it's been noticed, Maggie.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Don't read the chat on Tuesdays.
Yeah, Maggie. Yeah. Sorry.
You guys are the worst.
You thought you were getting away with it.
Yeah. I'm hungover on Tuesdays. No, this never happens. I try harder on Tuesdays. Hardest.
Who's sensitive here, by the way?
Seriously, what'd you say? What'd you say? Did my name come up?
4 good days a week. I'd kill for 4 good days a week.
What else did they ask you? Did you get in how much our social media is really blowing up?
No,
Did you work that in?
They asked me a lot about ratings, and I was like, well, the way syndicated radio works, because of all the different markets, you don't really measure by ratings. And I did mention, I'm like, one metric is the social media. I said how popular the YouTube channel was, how great the chat was. I talked about some of the, I would do great on Instagram and TikTok.
Updates?
I didn't. Let's see. I said Manny just joined the show. He's awesome. Our producer EJ is awesome.
I'm all right.
I said Billy, who cuts our sports minutes, is great.
He is.
Yusef, who hangs out, is great. I mentioned everyone in the building except updates.
Yeah.
Can you call him back?
Maybe no,
Don't.
but
Don't.
Yeah, they did ask them, like, we were going to do this in the offseason, but they asked me about my history of bad takes. Like,
let's talk about all the bad opinions.
Yeah. They're like, they actually had a really good question. If you have a hot take, like that goes viral, can it be manufactured? Like, does a good radio host make up the hot take? And I'm like, I don't think so. I think the audience can tell when it's manufactured. I think you have to believe it on some level for it to really sell.
100% agree. And just speaking from experience, the only viral takes that at least I've ever had are things I literally said off the cuff because I believed it and just said it.
Right, at least believe it to a large extent. Right, exactly. You can't.
I don't think kids should be at the podium next to the coach.
Right.
I said that offhand. You, me, and Elliott Shores Parks,
Eagles reporter. Yep.
And all of a sudden, I'm like getting blown up. The thing about
Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
The thing.
I definitely wasn't I wasn't planning to say if you only win the race by a couple.
You called him a hack. We were there.
A couple hundredths of a second. Can you really brag about being the world champ?
Because nobody would manufacture that take because it's so idiotic. But
according to my mentions.
But that being said,
right.
I think it's a great point. You can't sit at a laptop and say, "I'm going to write a take that fascinates America."
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. And the other thing that our old boss Spike Eskin used to tell us, what is quote unquote a bad take? If people get mad about it, then there's something true in it.
That's what he said. If you say the sky's orange, no one's going to believe it because
nobody cares.
Nobody cares because it's just obviously wrong. It always has to be a kernel of truth.
We talked about one take that's out there from this week. Did you guys see Colin Cowherd saying the Eagles wouldn't get into the red zone? It got a lot of attention.
I did see that, yes.
Yeah, so I was like, that is an awesome take. Because, secretly as an Eagles fan, with that Steve Spagnuolo defense, I'm like, yes, that could be true. I think Cowherd might have been joking with that one, but that was a good take. There was enough of a kernel of truth. I'm like, immediately I thought Spagnuolo was going to terrorize Jalen Hurts, and yes, maybe Colin's right.
This is just Eagles fear. Wait,
but it was a good take. It went totally viral, so I think that's the point.
Okay, so we have the heads up here. When is this podcast dropping? I mean, I'm doing promotion for someone else's stuff. But.
Friday on Awful Announcing. It was a really fun conversation.
The Friday before the Super Bowl pod. Pretty good.
Yeah, I got to advertise our Super Bowl guest list, which is, by the way, shaping up fantastic.
Yeah, excited. Very excited.
They asked me who am I most excited for, and I had a good answer. Greg Olsen.
I'm excited to talk to Greg Olsen. Not as much as Emmitt Smith and Jerome Bettis.
Based on every
I love Greg.
I was like, Greg Olsen, because not only is he a great football analyst, we get to ask what it's like to be replaced by Tom Brady.
You can take that one.
Maggie gets to ask what it's like to be replaced by Tom Brady.
I've got a good relationship with the Olsen family, so you can ask that one now. 855-212-4227. Covered his dad as a high school football coach in New Jersey. Okay, see you guys on the phones. We'll get to that. Also, an emailer has written in with a specific message for us, so we'll get to that as well. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff, so glad to have you. Updating one of the more divisive polls that we've ever had. Are the Chiefs winning close games a sign of strength or a sign of weakness? The poll's a landslide, but on the show, it's certainly not.
Yeah.
Sign of strength is 78%. I am with the crowd. You are staunchly against it, bro.
Sign of strength is beating the 45-7 game. No, I don't think it's a sign of strength. Because Chris Jones said it's not a sign of strength. He's like, we would like to keep all our players and not lose them to salary cap and just whoop people, but we can't do that. He actually, I think it was Chris Jones, pointed to the salary cap as a reason, like they're in close games because they keep on having to bring in new guys.
Another poll question. Do you consider the Eagles big underdogs in the Super Bowl? Are you okay with the phrasing there?
No.
Well, too late. 89% say no.
I mean, obviously, they're not big. They're 1.5 point underdogs. Would you be surprised? How about this tomorrow?
You just said that you agreed that Colin Cowherd had a take that the Eagles will not get in the red zone.
I didn't say I agreed, but there was enough truth in that, and as far as a take, to make me nervous. That being said, with tomorrow's poll, would you be surprised if the Eagles won the Super Bowl? That would be like a 60-40.
Why don't we throw it up right now? We'll give you the results tomorrow. Jay is our pal in Nashville. Jay, thanks for nothing, man. Yesterday you brought up Anna Kournikova as the greatest athlete to never win a title, and now all of us are getting fed Anna Kournikova stories because our devices are listening to us.
Nah, Maggie Cakes. I was just being a ding dong when I mentioned that. I didn't mean to cause anything. I didn't mean to cause a frenzy or anything.
You changed our algorithm.
I changed our algorithm.
It's all Anna Kournikova now because of you.
Man, they're probably breaking out old like Anna Kournikova's fat heads, putting them on the ceiling up, But hey, I'm gonna say Perloff's hottest take ever was about Keith's mom. It was like a one-liner and a mic drop all in one rip. Matter of fact, Brian still brings it up in the chat every day. I think he brought it up like 10 minutes ago, but that was Perloff's hottest take right there, man.
Wait, say it again?
About Keith's mom. It was
Keith's mom.
It was a moment on the show,
Classic.
Jay, that I'll never forget. This was season 1 of the Maggie and Perloff show. We were in the afternoon, and Keith from Arizona.
Yeah.
I forgot what he said to you to make you say, can you retell this?
I remember that.
No, I don't remember the
thing,
details.
actually.
I throw out mom jokes left and right on Twitter.
Anyway, wait, Jay, do you remember exactly what he said?
I don't remember what he said. I just remember he was from Tucson like I am. But he just said something so corny. Perloff just basically just blew up the spot, man. I mean, we were all like, yeah, Perloff. We were like, yeah, we're rolling with Perloff on that one. That's my dude. And I think that's when I bought. That's what made me buy that Your Mom Is My Cardio T-shirt.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, I love that.
It's all coming together. We have to remember the exact. We'll find that Keith's mom clip. It's in the archive somewhere.
Please do.
By
Jay,
the way,
can I give you a behind the scenes quickly on that? Jay, great to talk with you, pal, as always. Remember we were actually going to the Super Bowl in Phoenix?
No.
Maybe like 2 weeks later?
Mm-mm.
And Perloff's like, what if Keith shows up after I insulted his mom?
I was filling in that day. That's why when he said the mom thing, I was like, oh my God, I was here. And I was like, wow, Perloff really blew up on that guy. But then it was so funny because Perloff was like, I feel so bad. I shouldn't have said that. I was like, no, that guy was a jerk.
By the way, I Googled Perloff bad take. Oh my God. I had the worst take of 2023 when I said Justin Jefferson was a system wide receiver.
I was here for that too.
What? Why would I say that?
You did say that.
I don't know. We didn't
and
know
this one I do remember. In last March, I got Mabby's Dalton Connect celebrated the SEC.
You were incensed. You said he's not a winner.
No, I didn't say. I said basically.
You said it was lame, I think.
I said it was lame, exactly. And oh my God, did I get Vol Nation mad at me. That got covered extensively. Like, what? That's not is that a bad take?
See, but this is the thing. You can't sit there and plot out your takes. You just said that because you believed it. You thought Dalton Connect celebrated the SEC championship too much. And all of a sudden, every message board from here to Knoxville was ready to take off your head.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's totally random. You put it out in the universe, you have no idea what's going to happen to it.
Phil in PA. What's up, Phil?
Hi, Maggie. Hey, Perloff. And should I say triple P for Perloff? Pathetic plant-based Perloff. Anyway, yeah, I think Jalen Hurts is definitely going to be a spark plug. I mean, if he plays the way he plays, I personally think the Eagles are unbeatable. However, I mean, Kansas City only has maybe like a couple ways to win, just them being, Mahomes things. But the Eagles have a lot of different ways they can win. They have the number one defense. They have Saquon. And if Jalen Hurts steps up, they have multiple ways. Or A.J. Brown taking over the game. They have a lot of different ways that they could win. And Cowherd's, take is pathetic. He's just an Eagle hater. But
wait, Phil, I love the confidence, dude. I love the confidence. You need to double down because Perloff is not feeling as confident.
I already bought the champagne.
Phil, you're crazy, though, about the Chiefs could win with defense, too. Their defense is fantastic.
It may be, but the Eagles' defense is number one and better. But the thing is, I bought champagne because, spoiler alert, my wife is a diehard Chiefs fan, so no matter what, champagne's going to be popping in our household, no matter who wins.
Phil. Amazing.
That's
good way to close out the show. Thank you, E.J. Stewart. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Guido's Coffee Drinkers on the phones. You guys phenomenal. It said if you Google Perloff bad takes, you get 3,000 Google searches.